Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. Super Rugby Pacific is finally here, and we did see a little bit earlier on there was going to be a game between Moana Pacifica and the Blues. That game postponed, so this game is now officially the first game of the Super Rugby Pacific season. All of these teams have been playing their preseason fixtures up against each other. We've seen some pretty good ones, a few upsets along the way, but now we are ready to go. It is going to be one of the first of the Australian matches that we will see of the weekend. The New Zealand games, we've got two tomorrow. We've got one that is going to be taking place on Sunday. That is the Australian game, and also an Australian game tomorrow. We have got Kyle in the chat. We've got Barry here as well, Paddy, Kevin, and then Mark is here in the chat as well. I hope you guys are all doing well and hope you're all excited for this matchup. FIJIAN DRUA, their first game of Super Rugby. They have got a huge opportunity here to try and really put themselves on the map. Moana Pacifica, another team that was added in Hi-Ham. He says it was Paddy Wagon. Welcome in to the live stream, mate. Hope you are doing well. I'm very excited for this match. As you guys can probably tell, and how can I watch this on my PC? I would recommend, if you've got Sky, if you've got the Sky Go app or Sky Sport Now, that would be the perfect way of being able to do it. I'll see whether or not they've got it on the TAB as well for you while I am at it. But nonetheless, we will be looking through the starting lineups. We will be looking through at the reserves, and we will be getting underway in a very short moment for a little bit of Super Rugby action. But first of all, we will look through at the Waratahs. Angus Bell, Dave Parecki, and Harry Johnson-Holmes. A very strong front row Angus Bell. He's going to have to bring that physicality up against a strong Fijian lineup. And I guess that's the best way to describe the Fijians. Strong, powerful, and dangerous with the way that they play the game of rugby. Then in the midfield, or in the locking duo, I should say, it is going to be Jed Holloway and then Jeff Cridge will be there as well. Lockie Swinton, that man just bleeds physicality. Charlie Gamble, William Harris will be slotting in as the number 8 option for them in this one. Then number 9, the experience of Jake Gordon, Ben Donaldson. A little bit of controversy around getting him in the side, but he is now there. At number 10, James Turner is going to be out on one wing. He actually recently played for Otago, I believe it is, if I'm not wrong. Then also it will be Lalakai Faketi, Isaiah Parisi. Those two in the midfield are very capable of being able to cause some havoc. Dylan Pearch out on the wing, and then Alex Newsom will be slotting in as the number 15 for this match. Also, then looking through very soon at the lineup that we have got for the Fijians. Although first we have got Hi-My cricket season underway, so hopefully it is going well. How much is Sky Sport? I believe it is $40 a month or something along those lines if you do get Sky Sport now, which would be your best bet if you do not have a Sky decoder box. So I think Canberra versus Sydney trial is on right now as well, says Mark Morris. So we've got plenty of sport going on in Go Fiji, says Paddy Wagon. Also Hi-My cricket season underway, and Waratahs crushed them as well, says Kevin there for the prediction. Yeah, FIJIAN DRUA new on the scene, but certainly have got plenty of spirit, plenty of fight in them, and it should be extremely exciting to see how well they do in this game. And this is the lineup. Now, some of these pronunciations, I will admit, will be pretty rough, but that is why, luckily, we're in the early stages of the season, and they will slowly get better. Hone, it will be Karoi Duadua, who is slotting in at number 1. And number 2, Tavita Ikanaviri, and then it will be Samu Tawake, who is at number 3. And everyone has been saying about how important it is going to be for Akanaveri to be able to really dominate in that line out and also in that scrum. It's not going to be an easy one up against the Waratahs. They're going to try and put them under pressure with Dave Parecki, Angus Bell, etc. But those guys for Fiji, they need to make sure that they muscle up and they don't let them kind of get on top of them for this game, because or else then it could be a long day at the office. Asoa, and it will be Nasila Sila is going to be at number 4. And then I do know this man, Charika Davita. He has been playing for Tasman in the Bunnings NPC. Very capable player. He's actually one of the only players from the Bunnings NPC who actually got signed to a side. And Tosso Fijians, Tosso, welcome in. Johnny Place, hope you're doing well, mate. And Waratahs crushed them. So I says Kevin there. And also you said, are they a likely beat? Are they a likely best Australian team? You know, as well says Betty. And also bled blue or light blue, but the Tars are the weakest New South Wales side in any sport. I hope they can hold up. And cheers all, says David the Mod, and LJ has said hi as well. Welcome into the live stream, mate. Hope you are doing fantastic. Currently, we are just waiting for the kickoff to get underway. We have got about 20 minutes, but we've got plenty to talk about in terms of these two sides, including the backline that they have got, but we will get to them after mentioning the loose forward. Meli Derialangi going to be at number 6. Then it is Salawa, who is at number 7, and then Nagusa at number 8. As you guys can tell, my Fijian names are a little bit rusty since I think the last game that we did of the Fijian side was actually Fiji versus the All Blacks, and that happened quite a while ago. If not, maybe Fiji versus Wales, in fact, it would have been the last game that we did cover. Kurunavuli going to be at number 9. Then Baden Kerr, he is actually a Kiwi who is getting a chance in the FIJIAN DRUA side. And the commentators beforehand were talking about the perfect balance that he's going to have to try and find when it's an opportunity, they can play that Fijian style with the offloads, the quick back line. But as soon as it comes to the crunch time, they will need a little bit of, I guess you could say, a little bit of structure in that back line. And that will be what Baden Kerr will be able to bring very well for this FIJIAN Drua side. Tosa Drua, as says Sebastian there. And then looking through Habosi, going to be out on the left wing. Then Ravuvu into the midfield alongside. It will be Asilomi Voita, and then Kitioni Ratu alongside the man at fullback. He's a dangerous one. And it is going to be Ravutamada. Tell you what, that's going to be a hard one to say. Ravutaumara. Hopefully that rolls off the tongue throughout the match and have it by the Saturday as well. Says Milkcake. So hopefully you do get to play in the near future. And Fijian first season normally always struggle as well, says Kevin. See, that's the thing. It's a new side, or not really completely new. They've been in the NRC for a little while, but this is Super Rugby. They're going up to the next step, so it will take a little bit of time for them to kind of adapt to the new playing style. And it's probably a nice game for them to have as a warm-up up against the Waratahs. Aside from Australia, that has been struggling a little bit in the past. They are actually going about 2 years without a win, but this could be their perfect opportunity to get themselves on the board, get some points early on. And Ratavi will be a monster off the bench as well. And there says Eva, and also we got their sup from Reed Nichols, and also at least you got the vowel pronunciation down. Says David Lamont and Brandon Faithful is here, everyone. And Baden Kerr is totally not a Fijian name. Who is that imposter at 10? And yeah, he is a Kiwi. I know that he's played a little bit of time in Super Rugby before. He's actually the only player in the Fijian Drua side who has had experience at Super Rugby level and also played last week and won by 27 runs. Says Mockcakes are very nicely done there and sup from Reed. And also Hamish, the honorary Fijian. All you need is the frizzy hair, bro, says Johnny Blaze. Don't know about that. Feel like, first of all, I would have to get those pronunciations right if I do want to get to become an honorary Fijian. But looking through at the benches, Tom Horton is going to be there for the Waratahs. Then Titara Faulkner as the replacement. Lucy Prop on the other side, it will be Ta'ao Kiapulu will be slotting in there. Hugh Sinclair and Carlo Tizano are the two other replacement forwards that they have got. Henry Robertson as the number 19, Emmett, and then Jamie Roberts actually having his debut. I'm excited to see that man in action, as we have seen him up in Europe for the last little while, but now he has got the perfect opportunity to break his way into Super Rugby in a game up against the FIJIAN Drua. Looking through Dolakoto, then Salvoli will be off the bench, and then Manasa Saulo as the tight head prop, Rarasia as the lock replacement, Mira, and then Matawalu, and then Muntz, and Ratave is the other man who is going to be slotting in as the replacement bench for the Fijian Drua. I'm going to go, boys. I'm on a date with my wife. I forgot about Valentine's Day. I got in trouble. Cheers, brothers and sisters. So we will see you later on, Johnny, and take care. Johnny, have a good time with the missus, mate. And also, where's Will Harrison? And my name's James, remember. Oh, Jason, sorry. It is indeed, isn't it? I will try my best to remember to call you James from now on. But pretty much, I believe Will Harrison, he was a late kind of exclusion from this lineup. I thought he was originally going to be slotting in as fly-out, but they have instead got themselves Ben Donaldson, who will be there for that one. And also, we have got there in there from Aiden, who, of course, has a lot of money on this game. So let's hope that they can deliver for you, mate. But looking through at the Waratahs, after this game up against the Fijian Drua, they've got a few more matches in the near future. The first of which is going to be up against the Reds. Not an easy game, but they will be glad that they've got this game up against Fijian Drua, as that will be a very physical one. Get them underway and feeling good heading into that game up against the Reds. The Brumbies are their next challenge. That's going to be away from home. All of the Australian games can still take place from different kind of areas of the country. Unfortunately for us in New Zealand, we've got Dunedin, we've got Queenstown. That is where all the teams have to play their games of rugby due to restrictions. So it is nice to see that the Australians can still have their home and away games in certain locations. Then they've got the Western Force, and then they have got the Rebels. Now, all of the Australian sides will play all of the Australian sides twice. And then from there, after about 10 rounds, we might have a bit of trans-Tasman action, but it could still be the case of maybe both sides not being able to overlap due to restrictions, border restrictions, etc., etc. We won't get too far into that because I guess we're here for the rugby and we won't worry about that till the time comes. But now looking through at the Fijian Drua kind of schedule that they have got. So they actually play the Brumbies next week. It's going to be a 4:35 p.m. game on the Saturday. So that is the earliest game. Normally, we've got 3 games on the Saturday, 2 games on the Friday, and 1 on the Sunday that will be taking place. The Rebels are their second challenger. The Reds is there on the 12th of March. And then on March 19th, they are going to be taking on the Western Force, which I have a little bit of a feeling could be an extremely good game of rugby to watch. And also, as Baden Kerr playing for Fiji, he is playing for the Fijian Drua in this game. Believe it or not, he has decided to sign that dotted line, and he is going to be rearing to go for this game. No Ray Alcy for the Hurricanes as well, says Eva. Have they taken him out due to injury, or is it just he wasn't in there originally? Jason, do let me know. Harrison is injured, so should be there around 2, says Mark Morris. And cheers, Johnny Blaze and Paul Baden. He's like the white guy in the Caribbean cricket team. Says Sebastian, but hopefully, I mean, they did actually talk about him a little bit before the game, and they said that his experience in Super Rugby is just going to be absolutely crucial for the Fijian Drua. He knows how to play the Super Rugby style of play, and also I think it's going to be a cool, calm head at 9. Alongside, they have got at number 10 and 9, it is going to be Kuruvuli, I should say, who is going to be slotting in there. So those two are really going to have to work together well for that backline to be able to inject that extra power and pace. Like Ratu out on the wing, if he gets the ball in any type of space, he's running over the top of James Turner 9 times out of 10. And I'm calling that right now because he has got insane power, insane ability, as Arnold's exactly low and blonde as well in there. Yeah, he may not quite look the part, but he is certainly a capable player. And Baden Kerr will be excited to get out there for the Fijian Drua. The last time we saw the Fijian Drua in action, it was actually the URC a long time ago. So hopefully they are going to be no sign of rust in this game, and they will be able to go on and give themselves a good old performance. We've currently got 12 minutes till kickoff, ladies and gentlemen. Currently having an interview with the Waratahs head coach. That's what they are doing on the TV at this stage. But we will be watching this game through my Sky Sport Now coverage. So we will be about 30 seconds behind live. So I do apologize if you guys are a little bit ahead, but please do not have too many spoilers in these ones, as it is hugely appreciated. Seeing them as it happens. Toso Visitoso in there as well from Crazy NZ. And Hurricanes have 6 halfbacks: TJ Perenara, Roy Gard, Jamie Booth, Leroy Carter, Logan Henry, and Richard Judd. Tell you what, they're hoarding them this stage, the Hurricanes. They've got that many. I feel like some of the teams only have about 2 or 3, don't they? So I guess the Hurricanes, they are definitely sorted with the amount of talent that they've got in that number 9 jersey. Sebastian, well, odds Harlequins chance against the Wasps, or against the Wasps, I should say. That's actually a very good question, because I know that game is going to be taking place on Sunday morning our time, or Monday morning, in fact, our time. And I will be watching along with that game as well. But we're at Commbank Stadium in Parramatta, New South Wales for this matchup. Fijian Drua their first opportunity now in preseason. We saw both of these teams in action, but at the end of the day, preseason is a whole different ballpark. This is Super Rugby. Someone will be walking away, if not both teams, will be walking away with some form of points here on the table, and they'll be first and they'll be second, no matter what. So we will have to wait and see who does get up there. Tell you what, you're looking there. Jamie Roberts is a big boy. Looks like he's a back, but he's not a back. He's a big old man, and he is going to be running, or he is a back, in fact, I should say. Currently in the game that is taking place for the NRL preseason. Anyone who is curious about that one, the Raiders are beating the Roosters 28 points to 18, and Parramatta as well. And there says Mark Morris, but this game is about to get underway for this matchup. The Fijian Drua taking on the Waratahs. Waratahs in preseason, they actually had a pretty decent preseason overall. I thought they did beat the Reds in the end, 21 points to 14 last week. And then the week before, in fact, 2 weeks prior to that, they did actually win their game up against the Brumbies, and they were able to get themselves 24 to 14 over them as well. What's the site called to watch rugby in New Zealand? It is Sky Sport Now would be your best bet. And also, why do they have Chica in the commentary show? Says Mark Morris. I guess it's just for that kind of experience and coaching that he does bring to it. He's got some good analysis, which I believe is why Stan Sport have got him. I think they also, do they still have Sonny Bill as another mate? And this is Lex Saxon. Welcome into Livestream, mate. It is great to see you. I hope you're excited for Super Rugby. Yes, Jamie, your relation, Amish. And then there says David the Mod, not that I know of. Yeah, don't think so. Don't think so, but, distant cousins, could be anything. And then the game between the Western Force and Fijian Drua, unfortunately, it was cancelled for preseason. The other game that they did have, they actually had a win, and that was up against the Rebels, 28 points to 26. So theoretically, if we're talking about preseason, both of these teams go into this game undefeated, which is going to be very exciting. So he does go through. Surprise, Sean not at fullback for the Chiefs as well, says Eva. Yeah, I know that they instead decided to go with, who is it? I'm thinking Sean Stevenson's out on the wing, isn't he? Jonah Lowe out on the other wing. Who they got at fullback? It's not Caleb Trask, though. I know that they went with someone else. And also, hey, Kevin, I like to think that the Quins will win that game. Are we going through a rough period? I'm really not sure, says Sebastian. And hopefully we will be covering that game on the channel as well, even though it's on at a random hour of the night. As long as the cricket is over before the end of that day, we should be all right for it. And Amoni Narawa, oh, yes, they're going with Amoni Narawa, the man from the Blues. That's going to have the opportunity there. Hopefully he does go all right. And Guttermine Blues got both on, yeah. Would have been an awesome game to start off the Super Rugby season. Moana Pacifica taking on the Blues. Hopefully that's the only game that gets postponed throughout the whole season. Of course, that is very optimistic thinking because we've got so many games that are going to be taking place. In fact, it's over 100 games that we do get to see. And the first of which for the New Zealand games, it is going to be the Chiefs. They will be taking on the Highlanders. That will be taking place in Queenstown, followed by Crusaders taking on the Hurricanes. That game will be taking place at Forsyth Bar Stadium in Dunedin. And then after that, the Reds will take on the Rebels, followed by the Western Force taking on the Brumbies on the Sunday. It's the next game. Will England allow Marcus Smith to play for the Harlequins? I doubt it. I don't think Eddie Jones would be willing to give him up, which is weird because originally Eddie Jones couldn't wait to get rid of Marcus Smith, but now he's kind of holding on to him like he's his long-lost child. So I don't think he'll be allowed to play in that game, but hopefully they do consider giving him a chance. I'm very surprised Josh is time on the wing. And there says Eva there. Well, that's one, but currently we are just waiting for this game to get underway. It's going to be exciting to see the first game of Super Rugby Pacific and also any notables in particular for both sides who we should keep an eye out for. Hamish, one moment, we will go like this, and we will go like this. We will go through the lineups one more time for you guys to see exactly who is in the lineup. So it is going to be Angus Bell, Dave Parecki, and Harry Johnson-Holmes. Now, these guys, even though they play for the Waratahs, which I know straight away when you look at the Super Rugby records from previous years, you go, yeah, well, they're not going to be that good. But these guys are great in a scrum with the power that they can possess. And that will be somewhere where the Waratahs might be able to have a little bit of an advantage over the Fijian Drua, just a little bit more structure in that scrum. But someone I'm looking through at for the 4-pack of the Waratahs is definitely Lockie Swinton. We know how dangerous that man can be. It's just his physicality that sometimes boils over to bad discipline. And if he can keep that discipline under control and put in some big hits, because the Fijians are definitely going to give him a few if they do get the chance to give him a big hit, it's going to be the one to watch out for me. And that Waratahs 4-pack, looking through at the back line, Jake Gordon, his experience is going to be crucial here for the Waratahs. Also, I would say Fuketi and Isaiah Parisi and the midfield will both be ones to look out for, just because they will really have to set up that back line, set up the men on the outside of Turner and Pitch as well, who I know Aiden has a big win or a big bet on, so hopefully he does end up getting himself a try and draw for the win, says Richard Singh. That's the thing. They have got their perfect opportunity here to come into this game, nothing to lose, and just keep on going, see whether or not they can really push the Waratahs, who are a team that people are expecting not to do the best this season. So that is why it could be crucial for the Fijian Drua to get the win early. They've got a couple tough games. They've got the Brumbies next week, so it will be very tricky. My cousin mate is Raives Ryan's cousin as well, says Jason, so that's pretty awesome. They have got some sort of slight relation, I guess you could say, through your friend with a player who does play in Super Rugby. We have got there, as they haven't announced the lineup yet, but Marcus being there is doubtful. They need him to prepare and focus on the Wales, Ireland, and France games. So I see Sebastian here, plenty of good games coming up in the near future, that is for sure. Also looking through at the Fijian Drua, I will give a few of their players a couple shout-outs. I know that they've mentioned about Akinaviri, who will be important in the number 2 jersey for this matchup, because line-out time is going to be crucial for the Fijian Drua. If they give up the ball too often, and they do have about 3 or 4 line-out skills against them, that is possession that they cannot afford to be given up. And I haven't been able to watch New Zealand versus South Africa because I've been at school. But I'll watch it tomorrow at 7:58 a.m. says Jack Deans. Welcome into the live stream, mate. Hope you're doing well. Hope school went all right for you. We are almost ready to go. Commbank Stadium, 24 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy, and 25 kilometres of wind for this match. But I really like Tommy Allen as well. He's a decent replacement, says Sebastian. I just hope the Harlequins can put it together in that game. But the Wasps are a tough side. They were the first team to beat Leicester. Or were they? Was that Bath, in fact? But the Fijian Drua, they will be wearing their white for this matchup, having a song inside of the changing rooms. They will be ready to go. They play with such passion. They play with such drive, and they have got a good lineup. I'm looking forward to seeing Chirika Devita. We know that for Tasman in the Bunnings NBC, he was one of the players who was certainly dangerous. Does have a lot of power when he runs with the ball. Deralangi as well. And then Nagasa off the back of the scrum. Kuravuli and Baden Kerr. Those two are going to be crucial for Fijian Drua to try and set up that back line and try and get something going early on in this game. Ratu out on the wing, I'm looking forward to seeing. And then also, it will be the man's name who I cannot pronounce. It is going to be Ravutau Mada, who is at the back. He is going to be the other player I say to look out for in this matchup. Thank you all very much for tuning into this one, the first live stream of Super Rugby Pacific. We will be covering every single game of the season, no matter what game it is, whether it's an Australian game, whether it's a New Zealand game. We will be here for all of them, so be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm thinking Fiji will apply good pressure for a good part of the first half, but then the Waratahs will go for the kill as well, says David the Mod. And also, I think And my other cousin's mate is Aaron Sullivan, and Balin Sullivan's auntie as well, says Jason there. And also we've got their Zan, and I've seen the New Zealand Sevens ex-players. Warbrick now plays with the Storm in the NRL. Ooh. I know that we are going to be playing up against them for the the Warriors tomorrow. It's going to be the next one. Yeah, the what's known as the Tiger Tamers right now, says Sebastian. So yeah, the Quins would love to be able to get themselves the win over the top of them. But I'm seeing big Lockie Swinton. He looks like he's bulked up, and I didn't even realize that was possible with the size that he is already. Also, that number 8, William Harris, going to be a big lad, I should say. Angus Bell as well on the front row. These guys will be here to play, and they will certainly want to pick up their first win of the season here for the Waratahs. Their first win in Super Rugby in a very long time as well. So it will be absolutely crucial for their season. If they do want to get through, it is the top 8 sides in this competition go through to the quarterfinals. Then we have the semifinals, and then from there you move on, and it will be the next stage, and that will be the big old final. As William Warbrick, yeah, he's a good player. Hopefully good pickup for the Storm, and hopefully he plays for the Kiwis. And there says Kiwi NZ, or Crazy NZ, I should say. And there as well, a fellow Kiwi for this one. But do let me know, ladies and gentlemen, score predictions. Who do you guys think will be able to win this game? And also, if you are feeling very brave, who is going to score the first try of the match? I'm actually going to say Fiji catch the Waratahs a little bit off guard, and Kitione Ratu scores the first try. I think the Waratahs will score a try relatively close afterwards, and that will come in the form of probably, I'd say, Isaiah Parisi. This is getting way too specific. I feel like I'm just going to embarrass myself with my predictions. And New South Wales Waratahs will win. And there, as says Jason. But if that somehow happens, if the first try is scored by Ratu, if the second try is scored by Isaiah Parisi, I will be quite scared of my own abilities in terms of predictions, because I never get things right. And now the Fijian Drua making their way out onto the field for the first time in their Super Rugby tenure. It should be a relatively long one as well. I see big Chirika Davida. He looks like he's bulked up over the off-season as well. There's a lot of big boys here for Fiji. And New South Wales 32 and Fiji 27 as well from Jason there for the prediction. But they have got some very solid individuals, all led in the end. I guess for that backline, Baden Kerr is going to be so important. And also we have got there Abisalomi Amorta for the first try. My prediction says Sebastian there. And also 23-28 for the points. New South Wales wins, says Brandon. So a lot of people back in the Waratahs in this game. FIJIAN DRUA, they came in as the underdogs, about $4.50 compared to the $1.20 or so that the Waratahs are sitting at. That should be a very exciting game, but I'm looking forward to seeing these two sides in action. The last time I saw some of these players in action was actually for the Wallabies or for Fiji. I believe there's only about 2 players, though, in the FIJIAN DRUA lineup who did take part in the Fiji tour of the Northern Hemisphere. But Isaiah Parisi, Super Rugby 2021, had some very good form. We'll be looking to continue that into this season. Is Super playing right now also. I heard that TJ is out for 4 weeks. That would make sense why he's not in the Hurricanes lineup, I guess. But TJ Perenara, he is a very good player. Another good player, of course, is Michael Hooper. He is not playing in this game. I believe he's taken the first 2/3 or so of the season off, and then he will be back later on, is what I have heard. A lot of people thought maybe he was locked in with some club in Japan. Doesn't seem to be the case. It is just he has spent a bit of time outside of the Super Rugby format. But now the Fijians, do we get to see? I think we're going to get to see a haka on them, although I believe it is called something different for them as well. And Harry will score for Tars first as well. And there says Jason, and also their beer bellies. And then there's carver bellies as well. Or there's beer bellies, then there's carver bellies. Says Lex Axel. I mean, if it gives them the extra power and the extra size to be able to run over the top of the Waratahs, they will not mind one bit. Well, this one, but the Fijians, like I mentioned, they are a nation of passion. They are a nation of just going out there, playing with your heart on your sleeve and trying to get yourself the win. And that is exactly what they plan to do here at Commbank Stadium up against the Waratahs. I've got a quick question for you in 5 minutes rugby as well. Daz Brown, as I do, let me know. And I have 5 minutes, looking forward to it. But currently the Fijians, they are going to be ready to go for this game. All determined, all ready for the challenge of Super Rugby. That's one thing we haven't really seen too much of in the past from a lot of these players. I believe Baden Kerr is the only player from Fiji who has actually got himself any Super Rugby experience. I wish to come back for the Canes. That would be pretty awesome to see him there, although they do have quite a few talented players. I see that Simon Hickey sided with the Crusaders, though, seeing as he did get injured for the Hurricanes throughout pretty much their whole season. And Fiji athletic ability, second to none, says Lex Axel. And also, they play with such a fearless nature. I think that is why it is going to be so important that they don't really change the way that they play their game. Yes, they're going to need to play a little bit more of a structured games at time, but also like the way that they throw that ball around, no one can predict the way that that ball is going to be going for some of those Fijian backlines. And that is why it is going to be absolutely crucial for them. The game is about to get underway. And as soon as it does, the scoreboard will be updating itself as well. But this first game of Super Rugby Pacific getting underway, like I mentioned, Moana Pacifica and the Blues, they were going to be playing earlier on tonight. But unfortunately, due to the cancellation of the game due to positive cases, it does mean that we are going to have this game as our very first match of Super Rugby Pacific. Nick Berry in charge of this game. We are going to be ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. Super Rugby Pacific. I'm very excited. I've waited about 4 months for this competition to get underway. Not only have we got the Six Nations going at the moment, the URC's in full effect, Premiership Rugby. Is it raining? No, it's not raining. We're all right. I thought it was raining for a second in the Waratahs home ground, and I was like, I don't really want a game affected by rain. Definitely not for FIJIAN DRUA. The kind of style that they like to play is straight away getting their hands on the ball, running it around, offloading it, and if it is slippery, it's a lot harder to do that. But Jake Gordon here, very experienced head, going to be absolutely crucial for them into this game. I'll have to wait and see how it goes. Like they've said, over 100 days since the Waratahs took part in Super Rugby in Hayborough. I told you New Zealand will get a lead of 322 Henry and Blunder as well, 387 there. But now it is going to be kicked off here by FIJIAN DRUA, and it will be Baden Kerr getting us underway for this first match of Super Rugby Pacific. It is round 1, and we are now going to be underway. The scoreboard, it will be behaving itself in a very short moment, I would like to think. But until then, we will just keep on updating it. But now Jake Gordon got this one inside, just outside of the 22. Harry Johnson-Holmes running his way forward once again now. And Jake Gordon looking like he will be putting up the box kick. Instead fires it back, and it is going to be Ben Donaldson with the clearing kick downfield, taken nicely by the Fijian. No, he struggled it straight away, unfortunately. Nick Berry said it's gone backwards. Interesting. Okay, that one did not really go backwards, but we will allow it now. Baden Kerr once again on the outside. Going to be some nice link-up play from the FIJIAN DRUA out to their winger for this one, Habosi, and it is going back for the original penalty. It doesn't seem like Google are going to actually update their scoreboard by the looks of it, which is slightly unfortunate. So I will have to quickly get myself up another scoreboard, and Nick is there. Alert, anti-dopamine, like antipodine, MP. I'm not even going to try and read that word. It just doesn't want to roll off the tongue. I know he had a little bit of drama with Rassie Erasmus at one point. We will go here, and we will get the flash scoreboard up as well, seeing as the other one does not want to play the game. But straight away, FIJIAN DRUA able to kick this one into the corner. We'll go like this, and we will go like that as well while we are at it. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. It's always technical difficulties for the first week. I have learned for Super Rugby, no matter what competition we are in, it is just going to be the case. But now, hopefully, okay, they are just having a little bit of a problem with the gap being formed. We will go down here, and we will go like that. Right, we are all sorted now. It's going to be over the top, and now Fiji inside of the 22. Going to be attacking well. We'll stop that screwing off the screen. We'll go like this, and we'll go like this as well. There we go. Or have we got that up? Not quite. Now we do. There we go. We've got the scoreboard up. We're ready to go for this game, and currently it is in the possession of the FIJIAN DRUA. I'll be passing it back once again. It will be Kuravoli on the outside. Good run, aggressive run, straight at a Willabing Will Harris. Been able to drag him down the big Fijian, trying to creep his way a little bit closer to the line. Currently, it's a knock-on, and that is going to be just a little mistake from Fiji in the early stages. But yeah, it's interesting. I didn't realize that the scoreboard would not behave itself for the other scoreboard, which is the one that we were going to be using for a majority of our games throughout the year. So maybe we need a different one from that original one as well. But do let me know, ladies and gentlemen, who will be scoring the first try for yourselves. I said Kitioni Ratu for myself. It's going to be a tough one for the FIJIAN DRUA. But like I mentioned, both of these sides actually going into this game undefeated compared with the previous kind of season where we didn't see FIJIAN DRUA in the competition. The Waratahs were unable to win a game. So they were actually undefeated in their own right, I guess you could say, because they did not quite tick over the line. But now it is going to be from a few meters out. Jake Gordon now with the line out, or in fact, the scrum feed, I should say, currently 5 meters out from the line. Jake Gordon passes it back across, and now it's going to be a good bit of backline movement here from the Waratahs. The space opening up on the outside now, and it will be James Turner. Kicks it in behind. Good chase forward. And it is going to be sitting up. Oh, was he pushed from behind there? But Alex Newsom, he ended up falling down hard anyway. Tackled by Ben Donaldson. FIJIAN DRUA have got this one back. Kuravuli passes it back. Baden Kerr now Charika Davita first, Gary, like I mentioned, plays a lot of his rugby in the Bunnings NPC, and I like Fiji, a logo with the blue is on there, says Kyle, because it's normally that grey, isn't it, or the black. Kicked clear by Baden Kerr, although it is out on the full, unfortunately, so because of that, it does mean the first mistake of the day for that man in the number 8 jersey, or in the number 10 jersey, I should say. But it was just a good backline movement. In the end, it went wide out of the hands of James Turner, who kicked it in behind. The bounce was favourable for Alex Newsom. A little bit of respect shown on the sideline as well. That's the thing. Fiji, they're going to play with their hearts on their sleeves throughout the full 80 minutes, but as soon as the game's finished, they're going to shake your hand. They're going to say, geez, you hit us out there, but next time we are going to hit you even harder. Now, Dave Parecki throws this one into the back, taken nicely there by Jed Holloway. And now trying to march this one forward. It's looking like it's pretty well set. Charlie Gamble at the back now hands it off to Parecki, going straight through the middle there. Was Tiralangi almost would get to the ball, but just not quite. Ben Donaldson now goes back. It's going to be the wide cutout pass. Beautifully taken there. Out on the wing, trying to step around. And it will be the number 14. I'm going to have to check on some of these names just for a start. Dylan Pitch. Well, as that man Donaldson now goes back to Lockie Swinton. Wrestled down to the ground, though. And a good tackle by Koroi Duadua. Now Angus Bell, the opposite number 1, and the New South Wales winger in the corner, says David the Mod. It's looking good at the moment. Perhaps as Parisi tries to take on. The opposition does get bent over backwards, though, and ripped away there by the Fijians. And now Kuravuli taken out low. This game is being played at a frantic pace at the moment. Neither side willing to back down in this one. And Blondie messed up in there, says Mark Morris there. Currently now, Kuravuli going to be passing it back. The hands now of Tawake. Ball's bouncing out the back. Kuravuli once again. The ball has gone backwards, so it will be play on Nick Berry. Letting this game flow at the moment. Straight on the ball for the Waratahs. No, not quite able to turn it over there for Lockie Swinton. In fact, it was Harry Johnson-Holmes trying to go for a Baden Kerr. Kicking this one clear now. Doesn't find the touchline. Instead, 55 metres out. Now the Waratahs will have this ball once again. Now firing it back across for Turner on the outside. Now out to Will Harris. Looking for the offload. Does find it to Parisi, who is wrestled down by Samu. Tawake once again. James Gordon goes back. Jed Holloway straight at the Fijian defence. You're not going to be able to break through too easily for these Fijians because they will just keep on putting in the hard hits. They're very good in the breakdown as well. Being able to steal the ball quickly. Alex Newsom, great step. Almost going straight through, but is dragged down in the end by the Fijian hooker. Now, James Gordon, a lot of pressure on him. The ball's bouncing around all over the place. 5 phases in for the Waratahs. It's not looking too easy for them. Lockie Swinton having a bit of a push and a shove there in through the side. I believe that might be a penalty advantage. But Lockie Swinton, you know he's not going to back down from the challenge. And Nagusa is the exact same. And my app displays a black draw boat with a white background for the logo. So, I guess it is a little bit different. But that one now kicking behind from Ben Donaldson, sitting up. And it is going to be going back for the penalty. Question for Hamish, who is going to be a New Zealand team as well, says Brandon. I would say for my personal prediction at this stage, I mean, the Crusaders and the Blues are my top two, but I feel like the Hurricanes, the Chiefs, and also, to be fair, the Highlanders can also cause upsets. At the end of the day, we've got a whole heap of derbies. You just need to get a good start in the season. Get yourself up there because at the end of the day, it's quarterfinals is what we are playing for. So out of the 12 teams, 8 of them go through. So you just have to make sure you're out of that bottom 4. So I think that's probably the harder question. Who will be bottom 4 in the season? Darren Coleman, Waratahs coach for this year. No sign of Michael Hooper for this matchup. I believe there's a couple other Waratahs players missing for this game as well, but hopefully they will be able to have them in the near future because they will be very crucial for them in the later stages. But 7 minutes of pure pace here between these two sides. 42 metres straight out in front. Ben Donaldson will look to add the first points on the board for the Waratahs. 12 caps, 40 points for himself, and he has got that one straight down the middle. So now the score 3-0 in favour of the home side, the Waratahs at Commbank Stadium. Jamie Roberts' chin is massive. Like, his head is literally made of, like, granite or something. He's just got a massive mush, but it seems like it's very good for thinking when it comes to the rugby game. So about 8 minutes into this game, 3-0 to the Waratahs, and they get themselves their nice early lead. I'm liking the animations that they've got at the moment for this year of Super Rugby Pacific. I can recommend anyone who does want to watch these games. It is Stand Sport for Australia. The ball's been dropped there by Will Harris. Accidental offside, I believe it was. And now there's going to be the scrum feed for Fiji and Drua. Bottom 4 miss out on the playoffs. Yep. So pretty much it doesn't matter what country they're from. We could actually have, like, just as an example, because we're in an Australian game, I feel like it makes more sense. I'm not saying this will happen, but we could have 5 Australian teams, Fiji and Drua, Moana Pacifica, and the Highlanders. that could be the top 8. It doesn't have to be like 3 New Zealand, 3 Australian, or 4 New Zealand, 4 Australian. It can literally just be like the top 8 for this one, which just shows how important these bonus points early on in the competition will be, and also for yourself to just be able to get a great start, maybe get an early win or two, take you towards the right direction. But currently Fijian Drua, form of Kuravuli, will be putting this ball in now. It'll be a good push forward, and the Fijian Drua retain this ball at the moment. It's just a bit of crash ball, which is something we have come to love from the Fijian Drua side. And the NRC little knock on, though, from Kuravuli. I believe the man crash balling that one forward. It would have actually been once again for Naya Habosi. It's been busy throughout this early stage of the match. Everyone has out in this game. I don't think I've seen a single player not really just sprinting around all over the place, but the big problem is fatigue. This is the first game of the Super Rugby Pacific season. Who has got the better trained bench in terms of fitness, and who is going to be able to have those players start the match and finish the match still at that same intensity? It's not an easy thing to do, but someone who I'm thinking straight away of when I say about intensity, Lockie Swinton, that man just doesn't seem to slow down. He's just an angry man as well, Lockie Swinton. But then saying that, him and also Nagusa have already had a little bit of a push and shove and a massive mush as well in there, says David the Mod. It's a good way of describing Jamie Roberts, isn't it? I guess. And also we've got the COVID-19. A new one is here. More people die. So says Brandon. So that is why some of the games are being postponed due to cases that are ramping up at the moment. It's a good push from Fijian Drua. The front rows go up, but James Gordon still got this ball. Donaldson gives it off to Parisi, bumping off the Fijian winger. And he has got his tongue out. I think he was loving that contact, and he knows that he is going to get a chance to be able to put in a big hit later on. Lockie Swinton dragged down by Chirika Davita. James Gordon goes back to Donaldson in the pocket, puts up the kick. I believe there were quite a few men in front of that one for the Waratahs, but it takes a while to come down, not quite taken cleanly. Now Baden Kerr drops that one. It goes forward, but it is going to be going back for the original penalty of offside against the Waratahs, I believe. Oh, in fact, it's actually a penalty to the Waratahs for a Fijian Drua player being offside. Interesting, because they weren't the team that kicked it, so I guess they must have been rushing up a little bit too quickly. And also a 1928 new case as well, and I really like this format, Matt. Seems more exciting than the AU Aotearoa separation, exactly right. And we've got plenty of action that will be coming all throughout the season. I believe we get about 100 games of Super Rugby. And I can tell you straight away, there are not going to be any games of Super Rugby played that I won't be watching a replay of at least like 3 times after they have been live. Looking at all the stats, I just love analysing this competition. And it's going to be an exciting one to be able to follow along at the moment, 11 minutes into this game. And the Waratahs, they still have themselves a 3-0 lead. It was a little bit too far out for the 3-point attempt. So instead now going for the line out. It's nicely done. And now Pariki has once again done his job. He's at the back of the rolling ball. It's an advantage there for collapsing. I believe that would have been against Koraiduadua. And it goes back. And it is the penalty now for the Waratahs. They've got a big decision. Jake Gordon, I should say, straight away pointing at the post. He is not willing to go for the corner here. He wants the points, wants them now, wants that 6-pointer to give them just a little bit more of a lead. It wasn't that long ago when Australia was just full of stars equal to Michael Hooper. Yeah, I guess it's, okay. So I don't know who's in charge of the Waratahs, but if it's James Gordon, he has just been shut down, or Jake Gordon, sorry, I keep on calling him James. That is one of our subscribers as well, because they have kicked it for the corner. So James Gordon went yes for the post. Someone else went nah. Not happening. And now off the back, Angus Bell trying to bulldoze his way towards the line. Only 5 minutes out for the Waratahs. They will be hoping that this works out for them. The ball is bouncing around at the back of the scrum, at the back of the ruck, I should say. Dave Pariki a metre short of the line now round the side. Harry Johnson Holmes digging in, trying to get over the line. I think it is Kuravuli who's been able to just stop him. Or has he? I believe Kuravuli's been taken out. Oh, throwing some punches almost there when he was getting manhandled. Okay, time off here. What are we going to see? Who's coach of the Waratahs? Okay, whoever it was that I mentioned just before it is. I can't quite remember his name, unfortunately. And I got an email from YouTube. So it says, Brandon there, is this going to be the try? And I believe if he has scored it, it will be William Harris being able to get over the line. They are just going upstairs. It looked like, I think it was Jeff Cridge just manhandling. That's the try. And that is going to be the first try of the match. And it is the Waratahs win the form of Harris, who has been able to score it. So we will go like this, and we will go like this. Waratahs try scorers, and it is going to be straight away Harris, who has been able to put his name on the scoring sheet. Only 14 minutes into this game. 14, 12. We'll go 12. 12 looks better. Plus, I think it was closer to 12, so we'll just go with 12 just for now. There we go. It's going across the bottom of the screen, but currently 8-0 for the Waratahs with the kick to come. Should be a relatively easy one as well for Ben Donaldson, but number 8, Will Harris has 14 caps for himself and try New South Wales. There from Sebastian, it's just exceeded pressure from New South Wales. The Waratahs, they have just kept on going. Ben Donaldson's got a bit of a cut onto the right cheek. I'm not too sure what happened there, but that is going to be going straight over 10-0 now for the Waratahs in the first game of Super Rugby Pacific. So not the start to the match the FIJIAN Drua would like to see. Well, the FIJIAN Drua, I think I said Drua there, didn't I? FIJIAN Drua, but I'd be happy. He did get thrown around a little bit, Mark. I think it was Jeff Cridge who just decided to throw Kuravoli. But you wonder, Jeff Cridge, he's done that. Who was that? That was actually a Kanaveri saw that. So he's going to be having a big target on his back now, Jeff Cridge. That's the thing. You don't throw a Fijian without expecting a big hit coming in the next little moment. And I'm right here as well, says BDG. Welcome in to the live stream, mate. Hope you're doing well. Currently, territory 66% in favour of the Waratahs compared to the 34%. And, oh, man, I missed the Waratahs. And there says BDG. It is great to have them back for Super Rugby. It's a good clearing kick there from Ben Donaldson. A good clearance. And now going around that halfway line is going to be the line-out throw in favour of the Waratahs. So Dave Parecki's been pretty good with the line-outs so far throughout the early stages. Or in fact, sorry, I do apologise. It is actually a Kanaveri will have this line-out throw. Kicks in play so far. The Waratahs have had more than double the metres. And also you're going to be streaming my team later. And there says BDG. Who is your team, BDG? You have to remind me. Is it, wait, who is your team? I feel like I get my teams mixed up. I know that we're doing every single Super Rugby Pacific game. The Lions fans are real quiet now. Real quiet now. I realize what that is. It is actually a South African side still getting pushed around a little bit. There's plenty of tension out there on the turf. And I hear the news. Hear the news about the swim that was attacked by a shark was in Australia as well. Says Kevin. I did see something about a shark attack. I didn't actually read into it too much, but I think I did hear it mentioned a little while ago. But the West Tigers versus the Sea Eagles is actually just kicking off for the NRL preseason for anyone who is interested in that game. That will be on Sky Sports Select here in New Zealand. If you do want to do some sort of watching both of them at the same time, sure do. There's plenty of action going up. I think BDG is a Western Province and a Stormers fan. Western Province versus Griquas. What time is that game taking place, BDG? Do let me know. And can you believe Etsemev is going to the Sharks? And there, it's a big one to have. Baden Kerr here. Big opportunity now for this man. Try and kick this one over and give the FIJIAN Drua their first points of the day. And hello, Hamish, bro. And there's Michelle. Welcome in. And YouTube and I have 100 or 1,000 people see my YouTube channel. And there says Brandon, distant 32 metres out, probability 66%. I like the fact that they've added in that probability stat because that is something we have seen for the Northern Hemisphere games, such as the Six Nations and everything. And that is certainly going over from Kerr. And now it makes the score 3 points to the FIJIAN Drua, 10 points to the Waratahs after 16 minutes of this game. But Baden Kerr, they're talking about him. He's been all around the world, and he has now got another opportunity to play in Super Rugby. It's been a while since we've seen this man in a Super Rugby kit, and for FIJIAN Drua, this is going to be the perfect opportunity to show off his skills. But Lutiaga, Clayton Promakis, and Spickman coming to the Stormers. I did see the rumours that is going to be taking place, which is pretty awesome. It's going to be taken nicely here by Fiji once again, just inside of their own 22 here. Kuravoli passing it back, and Baden Kerr has to clear it from inside of that 22. It does find touch. Do they take it quickly? They decide against it. No, they don't. They do take it quickly. Waited a little bit longer. Ben Donaldson now back across field to pitch. Is going with a bit of a step, not quite able to link up with the man on the outside. Harris wrestled backwards in the tackle by the FIJIAN Drua. Only went back about 5 metres after contact for that one. And you know it's going to be physical with the FIJIAN Drua out there. You know you're going to have to muscle up early on in the game. It's going to be passed off by Kuravoli. Now out into the hands of Vota. The man who I said would score the first try of the match hasn't quite worked out at this point in time. I think that's a bit unrealistic, but I would love to see him in a Stormers jersey. Oh, it's a knock on there, unfortunately, for Fiji. I believe it was just a little bit too low for Koroi Duadua for that one. And bro, first match of rugby or Pacific Rugby League tournament. Which teams is your favourite in this competition? I know that the Crusaders are betting favourites, followed by, I believe, the Blues. And then after that, I want to say the Reds are relatively up there as well in terms of the betting odds. But it's still very early on in the competition, of course. We'll see a few of the teams, maybe that we expect to do well, might not do so well, which is why, I just love Super Rugby. It's going to be unpredictable. The FIJIAN Drua, I hope that they finish in the top 8, just so that we do get to see them in action for the quarterfinals. And depending on who they're up against, imagine we get to see FIJIAN Drua versus the Crusaders, and also FIJIAN Drua versus Moana Pacifica twice. We get to see that game take place, which is just like, it's just one that you want to see every single day of the week. And I'm Chris for you, cricket, who's going to be winning New Zealand or South Africa and some Australian games. So I would say New Zealand are winning that game up against South Africa quite drastically at the moment. Advantage and a penalty to the Waratahs for the front row going up against them. And now this one would be an easy 3 points if James Gordon wants it. Does he want it, though? He did point at the post last time, and they didn't end up going for the corner. Could this be the same? They are actually going very nicely. Harry Johnson-Holmes actually went airborne there in the front row. Something you don't really say too often for a prop. Just shows the power that is coming back at them as well. Where are they going? They are going for the 3 points this time, and it will be Ben Donaldson who is trying to line up this one nice and early. Anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Western Province games is 7 o'clock. Also, it's that morning game. It's a rough one. If it wasn't today and it was tomorrow, I think we would have been able to do the game. But sadly, because we have got the 10 a.m. or actually 11 a.m. start tomorrow, it does mean that I won't be able to cover both the cricket and the Western Province, which is a shame because I actually very much enjoy watching the Western Province play. They've got some very good players in that back line. Physicality in the forward back, but 41 metres out, 69% probability for this one to go over. And Ben Donaldson, it's close to the post. It's flirting with the touch, or close to the post, but he does get it over. 13-3. And tomorrow, what time is it for you? As that says BDG, so we'll have a quick look and see where it does sit for us, but we will go to our website. Hopefully it does tell me. I think it is 7 a.m. for us here as well in New Zealand. Or actually, it might be 8 a.m., something along those lines. And do you know how to do live video, Kiwi Lads? As I says, Brandon, pretty much it is just a case of you going live, unless you're talking about a premiere. It's a good kick downfield from Ben Donaldson from inside of his own 22. Or was it Ben Donaldson? It might have actually been in that one for Ketty with that massive kick downfield. The FIJIAN Drua now once again going to have this one. I see that Melbourne City are actually playing Newcastle Jets as well. And the game is 7 in the night as well. So what we will do is we go here, Griquas versus the Western Province. The game is taking place at 6 a.m. for us in New Zealand. So it's a very awkward time, and you got to do the game, or you're going to do game after this. I'm definitely going to watch it. Says BDG there, I should say, and also yes, Premier. Says Brandon. So this is our only Super Rugby Pacific game that we have got tonight. We've got 3 in a row tomorrow, though, alongside Black Cats versus South Africa. Now trying to roll away. It's going to be almost a penalty. No, Nick Berry hit the whistle at his mouth. Great ball there. It's going to be knocked down. Wasn't a knock on. It's a penalty instead, and I think it was a deliberate knockdown. Kuravoli thought that he was away with it. Just not quite working out, Nick Berry. And it's Leinster versus Edinburgh. Oh, wait, Leinster or is it Munster? Munster, Edinburgh at 10:25. So even that game I'd love to be able to watch, but with the time zones, it just makes it very tricky. And I hope Leinster win, but Edinburgh as well in there. Says it BDG. But yeah, the game tomorrow night, Leinster versus Ospreys might be doable depending on kind of time zones and everything along those lines. But 21 minutes in, and once again, they will be taking the 3 points here for the Waratahs. So not really rushing anything so far, slowly, methodically building into this match. Are you going to do some Premier sometime? And there says Brandon, I don't think Premier, I think I did one once for like a longer match that I did film on Rugby Challenge, but the idea of it was going to be I'd leave it running and kind of end up, I guess, editing throughout it. But I ended up talking to you guys in the chat throughout that whole one. So pretty much, I guess if I'm going to do something similar to a Premier, I'll probably just live stream. Just so that it's a little bit more interactive and I don't have to type it, rather I can talk it. But that has gone over, and now the Waratahs are sitting 16 points to 3 up over the FIJIAN Drua. And also we've got there, they are playing after this. As I says BDG, yeah, I believe the game is at about 8 a.m. I think it is for that one. And also Hamish Pro, Fiji team and Tonga team, I watch team better. There's 2 sides, and Y says Vishal. So I would say we're talking 7s. If we're talking 15s, it is definitely Fiji. But Tonga are also very good. And that same kind of reasoning behind the fact that, did that kick go backwards? Baden Kerr's kick almost went backwards there. That's impressive. I don't know how you get that to go backwards almost, and how Edinburgh are playing today and tomorrow as well. So it is going to be Edinburgh versus Munster in 10 hours' time. So no matter your time zone, 10 hours from now, that is when that game will be taking place. And how you grow, or grow so fast as well, says Brandon. I guess, I don't know. I always look at the number and just get shocked by how quickly we have grown. But I think it's consistency as well. You got to keep on uploading, keep on sticking at it. Even if a video is not getting any views, as long as you're enjoying making it, it will just feel like it's just a walk in the park. Doing it Fiji for Union and Tonga for League as well. Here's Sebastian, I 100% agree with that one. They are in the Rugby League World Cup, aren't they, Tonga? And then you have Future and also Sebastian. We can't lose them as well. And there's his BDG. Now it's going to be a great push there, although the double blow of the whistle from Nick Berry. And we are going to have a scrum reset. Lots of great rugby games in Europe and South Africa, but the man has just streamed a whole day of Test cricket. We don't want him to collapse in front of the computer as well. Says Sebastian, yeah. This is our eight and a half hour of live streaming or somewhere around there at the moment. My voice is actually holding up pretty well. Like tomorrow, we've got another 8 or 9 hours. So that's going to be the big test of whether or not it does withstand the next games that we are covering on the channel. But one benefit is that South Africa versus New Zealand game doesn't look like it's going any longer than tomorrow. So that will mean that the vocal cords will get a bit of a spell on Sunday, other than the Super Rugby, and also I will probably do the Gallagher Premiership as a game in the middle of the night as well. Currently put in once again by Jake Gordon, trying to go off the back. It is a try scorer, Harris. They've got the advantage once again. FIJIAN DRUA just not quite able to hold that one. Jake Gordon with the snipe around the side of the breakdown. Oh, great ankle tap there from Kuravuli. And it had to be made. Stop him from getting that pass away. Now Newsom actually plays halfback for Kitty, or Parisi, in fact. Stepping on the inside. Great low tackle on him. He'll be offloading it back. Ben Donaldson now off to Angus. Bell rush defense there from the FIJIAN DRUA hooker, but he does miss the tackle. Which then opens up just a little bit more space. Jake Gordon now going short side, wide cutout pass. Out now into the hands of, that's a big old hit there on the midfield or the midsection of James Turner. That's a big hit there, and that is the one that I was mentioning a little bit earlier on when the halfback got thrown around by Jeff Cridge. It's a penalty, though, to the FIJIAN DRUA, so that is just a little bit more advantage in terms of after that big hit on Jeff Cridge. And also Tonga are seated in Pool A alongside England, Aussie and New Zealand. They're in the top 4 rugby league nations in the world. Wait. Is it just me, Sebastian, or is that pool insanely good? That pool, how many teams? It's 2 teams from each pool can go through, isn't it? That's going to be a tough pool for anyone in that one, if that is the case. And also Sharks are building Springboks team, Hamish, and need a few more key players. Because the big thing is, I think, is it the thing about how South Africa, if they don't play in South Africa, they can't be selected for the Springboks or something along those lines? Was that something that they brought in recently in Rugby Sevens tomorrow at round 2 of my Rugby Sevens game of 2022 round 2? This was on last year, and it was on this year as well. Taking a quick tap there for Fiji for them closing the gap. Now, good tackle there from Harry Johnson-Holmes. Kuravula goes back, ball drop, but it went backwards. Baden Kerr picks it up nicely. Whereas the offload doesn't quite find it. Gets drilled backwards in the tackle by Harris, who's a physical specimen of an individual now making his way forward. Will be Nasila. Couple extra meters, and something that we will see from FIJIAN DRUA is probably one of the most post-contact meters made throughout this whole competition. They've got the advantage, and now it's almost becoming a rolling maul here. Holloway able to drag him down, and also FIJIAN DRUA as well, and they're from Joave. And I will recommend anyone who doesn't have access to this game, you can watch the highlights of these matches on the Super Rugby YouTube channel, and I highly recommend checking that out if you do want to see the highlights of all of these games. We have got their Rugby Sevens tomorrow. And also, did you see South Africa are replacing Italy in the Six Nation, and Kevin Sharks are full of the Stormers? What year is that happening? BDG, do let me know. It's going to be relatively soon, isn't it? A few more years. My explanation was unclear. Sorry. These are the 4 nations who are Pool 18s. Oh, so they are the headliners of their respective groups. That makes more sense. I was thinking, geez, that's a good old group to have. That's like having for the Rugby World Cup an equivalent, like having New Zealand, England, South Africa, and Ireland or something all in the same pool. But that makes a lot more sense now that you've said that. I think I actually, from reading it again, I think I just misread it. Yeah, I seeded in Pool A, so I guess that was just my brain not quite picking up on a certain word there. And hey, mate, I'm back. Says James Gordon, welcome into Livestream 2025, so that's not actually that far away. Maybe we'll get to see them BDG. I have notes. So awesome to see even in the Sharks jersey, says Kevin there. But currently 27 minutes through this game, and we are sitting at 16 points to the Waratahs, 3 for the FIJIAN DRUA. The question here is, will the FIJIAN DRUA start to tire out a little bit later on? Andrew Sinclair said hi as well. Welcome in to the live stream, mate. Hope you are doing well. We are covering every single game of Super Rugby Pacific. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Taken nicely by the Fijians. Now offloading it back. Nice set play here. Another offload, just trying to force it a little bit too much there for the Fijians, and it was Fakiti who was able to jump on it for the Waratahs. Jake Gordon, now it's an advantage and a penalty. My mum's uncle died last week as well, says James Gordon. So I'm sorry to hear that, and condolences to yourself there, aka my other Gramps. And he says James Gordon, also Kevin as a Storm saying I'm upset, but hope he boosts you boys. Says BDG, yeah, I mean, it can't be a bad thing having those big South African internationals join back into the competition. Like, it's going to be awesome seeing what they have learned in the Northern Hemisphere, how it kind of relates to how they play in South Africa. It's going to be kicked downfield, a little bit more field position here, about 45 metres out. I think he was just trying to force that offload a little bit too much there, Akana Vere, rather than just waiting for the contact or maybe going a little bit beforehand. Did go for it, and also we look at the Aussie, sorry to hear. Here's BDG there, but at the moment, the line-out stolen. They have stolen one so far for the Waratahs. That's going to be the steal for the Fijian Drua, though, so they have been able to take that stat right back. Kuravula looking very good, or Kuravuli, I should say. Currently now will be Tawake. Does play as half-back, passing it back. I don't think we've really seen Chirika David to get any opportunities with the ball in hand as of yet. It was actually Nasila Silla was getting that one. That's fine. Is the call from Nick Berry. Baden Kerr now goes back. That looked like Chirika Davida was going to get a cross-kick opportunity here. Taken all in the air, was it? Was it taken in the air? He's staying down at the moment now, and he is just checking on him to see if he is going to be all right. I'm not too sure how serious it was for the Fijian player. I think he just ended up staying down a little bit longer to see whether or not they would consider a penalty, and hopefully he comes back to his parents soon as well. And this is BDG, and also we've got their BGE. Thanks. Definitely your Stormers team has been incredible the last few weeks. I would consider that tackled in the air. He wasn't catching it anyway. Okay, James Turner. I think they are going to say that it is all right. No, they're not. It is going to actually be the penalty there to FIJIAN DRUA. And now they are going to have this ball about 22 metres out. This is a perfect time to score a try. We had the funeral last week, and me and the boys buried him last Thursday. Is on there, and Kevin, the same to the Sharks. Absolutely insane. Here's BDG, but at the moment, total visits to opposition 22. This is actually the first time we've seen the Fijian Drua with a real attacking chance in this game. Brilliant run forward. And now only a few metres out. It was a great run from Habosi. Ball available now. Kuravuli once again going short. Chirika Defeat has dropped the ball. I hyped him up so much, and he's dropped it, or did he? Baden Kerr jumps on it, but I think they are going back for the original knock on there. It was a good one. But Chirika Davida just ends up putting the ball down. The ball's ain't got nothing on us now. And I was like, the Sharks, the Stormers are too good for the Bulls and the Lions. And this is BDG. Chirika Davida. I don't know whether or not it might be a little bit dewy out there because we are seeing players slip around a little bit. So Chirika Davida, he tried to take contact, but he just ended up over that ball as well. Sorry about that, Yawn. We have been doing quite a few live streams today, so I feel like there's going to be quite a few of those about this whole match, but I do appreciate every single one of you for being here. If you are new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is hugely appreciated, you guys all being here. We will be covering every single game of Super Rugby Pacific, every single one on the channel, so be sure to stick around for that. We've got 3 games tomorrow, first of which, Chiefs versus Highlanders, second, Crusaders versus, it will be the Hurricanes, and then the third game will be the Reds taking on the Rebels. As also we've got the I was a Lions fan and not a plastic fan as well. And there says BDG, it's a good push from the Fijian Drua, but it's still available now for the Waratahs. Fakiti passes it off to Parisi. Those two love linking up in the centres. The Waratahs, Jake Gordon now being told to use it, passing it back now, just trying to hit the ball up a couple more times. Jed Holloway with that carry. Ball could be turned over here by the Fijian Drua. They get the penalty. And go Drua, says Seru. As currently they're working hard. I believe they will be kicking this one for the corner. They're 13 points behind. And they've got a few more minutes left till halftime, I should say. Only another 9 to be exact. I'm a bit nervous for Western Province fans or face Greek was BDG. And there says Kevin. And also, I left the Lions in their prime as well. My youngster sister is in hospital. She got a snap bone. Jeez, that sounds serious. As can you show the player's name on your running screen down the strip as well? Says Michelle. I can't actually put them there, but I can show you the team lineups for this one. So this is the Waratahs. We will go through both of the lineups, and I will put them up for you guys to see exactly who's in the lineup. So far in this game, Will Harris been playing very well. Fakiti and Parisi working very nicely together in the midfield. And then Lockie Swinton being as physical as ever. And Jed Holloway just getting the turnover. So I guess should give that man an honourable mention for that one as well. But now the Fijian Drua, they just counter ruck, and do they get this ball back? I believe it's close. No, it's a penalty to the Waratahs in the end. The Fijian players, they throw their hands up in the air. They can't believe it that the penalty has gone against them. This is the lineup, though, for the Fijian Drua as on this match. And who are you going for, mate? says Sitariki. At this stage, I'm actually pretty impartial for this game. I'm from New Zealand, but I really want to see the Fijian Drua do well in their first game of Super Rugby. And I want Georgia to smash these New South Wales flops, as says Captain James here. And I'll say Kevin Greco's are playing very good, but I have faith in my Western Province. And come on, boys, says Seru there. The ball just bouncing out the back. Just not quite able to get that one in the end. Akanaveri. Looks like Angus Bell back down in the background. Hopefully he is all right, because he is a very dangerous man to have in a scrum. Good kick downfield for Dawson. Another yawn there. But so far for the Fijian Drua, I would say, who am I liking? So I think Akanaveri has actually been going pretty well for himself. Diralangi, we haven't seen too much of him, but he's been looking dangerous. Kuravuli also getting them really on the front foot anytime it's around the back line or around the back of the breakdown. But we haven't really seen too much of the back line as of yet. So I think that's down to Baden Kerr and also the first receiver. They've gone short there to Angus Bell. Now after Dave Pareki getting nailed in the tackle by, it was Sawala who was able to finish the job. It's another advantage there for the knock on, and it's now turned into a penalty. Big tackle there. Little bit of a wrestle as well on the ground. And Lockie Swinton, of course, one of the first players who were there, and the push and shove continues between the two sides. I believe that would have been Habosi that put in the big hit on Jake Gordon. Also, rest a bit biased. Do you think, as I said, Sitariki, we have had quite a few penalties. I think we've actually had 13 so far, 7 against the Drua and 6 against the Waratahs, I believe. But we had a few interesting ones so far. But Dave Pareki down the short side. And in the end, it was straight on the ball. Kuravuli just didn't quite turn it over, though. The ball bounces out the back. And then from there, Jake Gordon did get picked up and dropped backwards, which is why he was not too happy about it. He was grabbing the shirt as well. Lockie Swinton, of course, would be straight in there. Stop yawning, as I said, Sarah. I do apologise about that. It seems to be anytime we get to the nighttime live streams, sometimes I do end up having a bit of a yawn. Sri Lanka not doing too well, as on there says Shane. And also in Australia, I'm a Waratahs fan. In New Zealand, I'm a fan of the Crusaders. I guess you could say two sides of the spectrum there in some regards, but who knows? Could almost be. Like, that's the thing. All you need is top 8, like I mentioned. Like, yes, you can lose your first couple games, but as long as you lose none of the other ones, you're making it to the quarterfinals. And I stopped supporting the Lions in their primers. I says BDG and Nick Berry as the ref lads are the biggest scum that the Southern Hemisphere has ever produced. His decision-making at times can be a bit rough, Nick Berry. I will admit that. Hopefully it's not too bad. Line-out steal so far for the Waratahs. They have been able to get to it. It's taken nicely by Jed Holloway. And now trying to stop this rolling maul from marching their way forward here. The Fijian Drua looking through. I think it's Dave Pareki now. He's got this one. It's a well-set rolling maul. He's trying to go around the side. There's an advantage. He falls down. It's a try. And it will be Dave Pareki this time who is able to get over the line and score. We have got there Kevin Yeh and all the Sharks that need is new, more experienced coach. As I'll see you later in there, I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be in tomorrow's stream because I'm busy right now. No worries, mate. And we will see you later on. But that is the try to Dave Pareki now. Being able to add his name to the try scorers list. I think he's actually going to be able to get quite a few throughout the season, but it is in the 34th minute that the try is going the way of the Waratahs. Hopefully, we do get to see the Drua score before the end of this match. What do you think of the Blues this year? Sheik, and it is Asi Sitariki, Roger Tulavasa Sheik. As if their backline wasn't already stacked enough, they add him in there as well. They've got him, Rico Ioane, Caleb Clark. Who else we got in that backline? Mark Talia out on the wing, Bryce Heem as well. So they've got a very strong side. It's just the question of where are they going to put him? Do they put him at 12? Do they put him at maybe out on the wing? And also we've got there his normal formation of rugby squad. A 15-player Hamish Pro can change his formation from some time team. So pretty much the forwards are always in the same, I guess you could say, same format for the forward pack. And then all the back line also start as that kind of same row. So it's not so much like a football formation in terms of, that's a bad miss there. That was not the best one from Ben Donaldson. And anything to win apart from the Blues Association, and also how did the Roosters and Raiders end up? One moment, we will quickly get that score up. Because I believe the Tigers are actually playing soon. And in fact, they're playing now at the moment, and it's 4-4 with them and Manly. The other preseason game went the way of the Raiders, 32 points to 18. I reckon on the wing, he's a finisher, as Asi Sitariki. Yeah, I know that comment has been made a bit about having him in the midfield. He just doesn't get that space that he would need to be able to really just show that flair that he does for the Warriors. Yeah, hopefully they do give him an opportunity. I don't know whether or not he would be on the Caleb Clark wing at left wing, or I think he's a right winger, isn't he? And Caleb Clark from the Waratahs. As I said, BDG, did I say the Waratahs there? Sorry, I meant the Blues for that one. I mean, I'd love to have Caleb Clark on the field, I would think, and also go Drua, get a try, boys, says Sarah. And yeah, anything more than one try is a huge accomplishment for FIJIAN Drua. We've got to remember, this is their first game ever in Super Rugby. It's never going to be like the perfect start. It's not going to be a 50-0 win for them, but maybe if they keep on developing, we could start to see a lot of wins for the Drua. And if they get into that top 8, the quarterfinals, then who knows? All it takes in a playoff game is a little bit of luck and a little bit of flair, and that is something that the Fijians have bucket loads of themselves as well. Currently still got the ball turned over there. Brilliantly done by the Waratahs, and Jake Gordon clears it downfield into the 22 now. Another 50-22 rule will be in play for this one. Going to be taken now by Ratu, just driving himself at the line, but straight away Fakiti gets on the ball. Ball bounces out the side now. Well and truly isolated. The ball bouncing out on the side of the Drua now. Yes, they have got it back, and it's a penalty to the FIJIAN Drua. And also Australia wasting Sri Lanka again, says Shane. And currently in that game between the two sides, it is sitting as Sri Lanka after 17.3 overs are sitting 117 for 6 for that one. And then also other things going on at the moment. Melbourne sitting Newcastle is sitting at 41 minutes through 0-0. And that game, and discipline as well, says Lake Show, yeah, going to be an important factor throughout the season. The bonus point system is still 3+ tries than your opponent, isn't it? It's actually 4 or more tries this year they have decided to go with, I believe. I'm just going to have to make sure, though, just to make sure that I'm not telling you false information. We'll go here. Okay, 4 points of the win. Oh, no, sorry. It is actually that one, sorry. So 3 or more tries than your opponent gets you the bonus points. So currently the Waratahs, they'll want at least one more here. And Irish Pro football formation 4-3-2-1. Can any formation be this number for rugby? They cannot. It's pretty much if you've got your number on your back, they can't even kind of pick specific numbers that they want. Why is there a spider on my wall? What's it doing? Get out of here. Okay, luckily it's not a whitetail, but there is a spider on my wall at the moment. I don't really want to crush it because then it will rain tomorrow. But it's just looking at me. It's giving me the 8 eyes. It's going, oi, what are you doing? I'm watching the rugby, mate. And also, I have your feeling, you're a Canes fan, Brosy Sitariki. I am not, but I do like their kit the best because I love yellow. So that's probably my favorite kit out of everyone. Jeez, he's a quick little fella. He's like he's in 100 meters against Usain Bolt there, but pretty much favorite team. I'm halfway in between Crusaders and Highlanders for location in New Zealand. So it means that I don't really, I guess you could say I'm not really too in terms of biased in terms of teams. Would you guys judge me big time if I squash the spider? It must have played tomorrow as well, says Shane. I feel bad, but it is actually a whitetail. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. And Dosso as well says, Philly, how you going, mate? I'm just chilling. Yeah, come on, don't let us Blues fans down as well. And also Munster play tomorrow, says Shane Hayes. And also, how's the highlight so far? It's been good. So far, we've seen quite a bit of action between the two sides. FIJIAN Drua, just a little bit too many handling errors early on. And then at Waratahs, they have had a few good moves overall. And the Redbacks have sent out their scouts again, haven't they? Says Sebastian there. Currently 15 seconds left. And it's up. I hope you're doing well, Philly, Julia. And also, your first kill on stream. First and only kill, I hope. Just put that down. Pretty much, it was a whitetail, so I had to get rid of it. Or else, it might end up biting my foot or something. And against Edinburgh, as also New Zealand has a lot of venomous spiders. Not really, no. I don't think we've even got any other than, I guess, the only ones that can, I guess, it sounds brutal, but the only ones that can actually kill you, I believe, are that type. So, I feel bad about it, but it's probably not a bad idea to squash it. But now that is going to be halftime in this game. Almost. We've got one more play. Currently, Sri Lanka losing another wicket in their game. Pariki now going back. Going to be taken nicely now. And now off the back, it is going to be Charlie Gamble, a player we haven't really seen too much of. And another wicket gone, says Shane there. And player to watch from both teams. I would certainly say, is that stolen? Yes, it is. For the FIJIAN Drua, straight on the ball there. And it was. And then Sawala was able to get on it. So for FIJIAN Drua, if I had to pick just one player, I would say it is Kuravoli. It's been phenomenal throughout the early stages. He seems to be bringing that physicality. He's kind of reminded me a little bit of what we saw from Falau Fakatava about a year and a half ago in Super Rugby, how he was just willing to go around the side and a one-sided affair here. This game can FIJIAN Drua bounce back in the second half. I think they can get a little bit closer, but the Waratahs look like a pretty well-set unit at the moment, so they're going to have to find some way to really disrupt the way that the Waratahs are playing, because they're trying to play quite structured, and also FIJIAN needs, or Drua needs time to grow. Exactly right. Like, this is their first game ever as Super Rugby. So for anyone to come in and expect them to win by like 20 plus points or something along those lines, it would have been, it would have been incredible if they were able to do so, but now it's going to be stolen there by Angus Bell, and the ball is available once again for the Waratahs. Jake Gordon kicks it into touch. We are at halftime, and now the score is going to be 21 points to the Waratahs, 3 for FIJIAN Drua. Harris scoring the first try of the match, and then Pariki scoring the other. But a player to watch out for the Waratahs, I would say William Harris off the back of the scrum. He's been very dangerous. And then also for Kitty and Parisi, those two have been pretty dangerous. Maloney or Clark or Swain for commentary as well. And there's Escotenda, Maloney or Clark or Swain. I'm trying to think, who have I heard recently? Is that for the NRL? I'm trying to think if I've listened to them. I don't know whether I've heard them recently. I've noticed it doesn't matter who Aussie play. Their team is strong as well. Says Shane Hayes, and also Drua will improve eventually. And this is Lakeshore, exactly right. And as they get a little bit more, like, that's the thing. In the NRC, they dominate a lot of the time. In Super Rugby, they're going to be a new side on the block. Same with Moana Pacifica. They've got all of the talent there. They just need time to develop, time to really, I guess, adapt to the structure. Same with what we've seen from the URC South African sides. It's taken them a little while to be able to really find their feet. But once they do, going to be a contender. That is for sure. And it's just the first of many games, says Lakeshore, exactly right. There is still plenty of time for the FIJIAN Drua. And that's the thing. It's the first game of this season. There's still plenty of games left of this season as well that they might have a decent opportunity. And Waratahs will win the match. I hope so. This is Jasper to do it. 18 points behind Drua at this stage, at least 2 or 3 tries on early in the second half, and need much more for the Drua, says Michelle. And I think a big goal for the FIJIAN Drua here would certainly be to find a way to stop the Waratahs from getting that bonus point for being 3 or more tries ahead, because that will well and truly end up kind of differentiating their points differential as early as the first game. You don't want that. You want to be able to be pretty even going into the next stage. And also we have got the next 7 start in April again, Hamish. I believe it is. And we are going to have to wait and see how they do end up going. And also players overrated the Drua so much. They're not that good, although they will need a little bit of time. Of course, one of those I'm excited to watch Fiji play weekly, says Lakeshore. And yes, speaking of Fiji, the schedule that the FIJIAN Drua have got for themselves. There we go. Brumbies, they have got them next week, 4:35 p.m. on the Saturday. So that is the earliest game on the Saturday. Then after that, their next game on the Friday night, 9:45. So same time as this one. That is going to be on March 4th, taking on the Rebels. The Reds are their next challenger on the 12th of March. And then on the 19th, they have got the Western Force. And the best part about it, all these games, times 2. We get to see them play all of those sides, and also the side in the Waratahs again. It's going to be great. Super Rugby Pacific. These are the games that the Waratahs have got coming up. They've got the Reds, then they've got the Brumbies, the Western Force, and the Rebels. And if they continue playing like they have in this game, perhaps they will be able to get themselves in that top 8, work their way towards that quarterfinal marking. And also draw a first game a new beginning as well. Enjoy it, boys. Win or lose. Only way is up, says Sarah. Exactly right. It's going to be awesome. See how they grow over the next little while. And I'm watching on TV live today. Me too as well, says Jasper Todoy and Greg Clark, the Fox Sports guy, or Sean Maloney and Andrew Swain, commentator for first Argentina win versus New Zealand. Oh, who's the guy? I'm trying to think of who it is. Who's the guy who goes like, oh, no, not like that. Parisi, he's, I'm trying to think of what he said. And Hooper, he's got the ball going out the back line to Swain. No, that sounded like David Attenborough. You know, that guy who kind of emphasizes the words. I know he's an Australian commentator, but I can't think of who he is. And draw a first game of a new beginning. And also another run out. And there's Shane Hayes. So, yeah, 8 down now for Sri Lanka. Not the start to the season. Well, a start to the match that they would have been after here. And anyone who was wondering, it was Will Harris who scored the first try of the match. That was in the 12th minute. Was able to break off the back of the breakdown. And a common occurrence is the second match. Well, the second try was actually in a similar fashion for them as well. And what I am going to quickly do is I'm going to get you guys some Super Rugby stats up on the screen. See who we did have as the top contenders in the last little while. But Moana Pacifica versus the Blues, unfortunately, that game was postponed. So because of that, it does mean that this is the first game of the season. But I am absolutely loving every single second of it. The Fijian Drua, they have come to play in this match, and yes, they may be 18 points down at the moment, but they've still got plenty of talent come off that bench. 2 tries for the Waratahs, 189 metres carried for them compared to the 108 of the Fijian Drua. 10 defeaters beaten to the 9, and then also the offloads. We haven't seen any offloads successful from the Fijian Drua, which is something that normally is just so prominent in their game of rugby. So I'm curious to see how it does end up kind of developing in that second half of this match. And now currently the tackles made, they've missed 10 tackles here for the Fijian Drua so far, but they've made 63, 9 tackles missed by the Waratahs. They have made 52, and more turnovers, 1 in favour of the Fijian Drua for this matchup. Currently the possession only 42% for themselves. Cherkazzy, you haven't been on stream in ages. Welcome in. Toilet Smithy, hope you are doing well, mate. Hope you are excited for Super Rugby as it is now here and it is in full effect. We're going to have plenty of games, 3 games tomorrow. Chiefs versus the Highlanders, Hurricanes versus the Crusaders, and then the Reds taking on the Rebels as the final game. Will be going back to back to back for those matches. And also a little bit of cricket in the morning. The most metres carried in this match is actually James Turner out on that left wing side. 42 metres carried, 5 carries, and that is actually very impressive. 1 clean break alongside that. And then the second most, Jake Gordon, who's had 2 defenders beaten. And is there bonus points this year, says Shane Hayes? There is indeed. So 1 bonus point for being within 7 for the losing bonus point. And the other side of it, it is going to be the 3 or more tries in your opponent. Is Aaron Smith playing for the Highlanders? He is indeed, and he is playing tomorrow in that match for the Chiefs game. And also, I've just got lots to do, brother, as well. Says Toilet Smithy. No worries, mate. It is a busy time of the year in the early stages, but I hope you have been keeping well. I hope you've been keeping safe. And yeah, I hope you are doing all right with what is happening in life. And Aaron Smith is captain for the Highlanders. He is indeed. We'll be hoping for a big performance. It's actually Habosi and Ratu, both having decent running meters. The 2 wingers, 4 defenders beaten for Kitioni Ratu so far. So that's very good. The most out of any player on the field. And then also Baden Kerr, he's only had 1 carry. He hasn't made any meters for his side. And I think one thing that's going to be crucial for him is really finding his feet as the player at number 10. Because if he cannot do that, it's going to be a very tough second half for Fijian Drua. 9 tackles made by Lockie Swinton, the workhorse, in the number 6 jersey. Done very nicely. Charlie Gamble at 7. It's also made 7 tackles, although there's one player who I need to mention here. In fact, I'll mention 2, because there is someone who is also right up there. At the moment, Samuela Tawake has made a total of 11 tackles, missing 2 of them, but he has made 11, and it's good to be on a Kiwi Lad stream. I feel like that's the thing. Anytime I see someone who used to be on the live streams and they come back, it's just like a reunion. As do you think Betch will score a try for me in the second half? Hamish says, Aiden, it's a tough one to say because Jamie Roberts is lurking and he might end up coming on the field for one of those boys as well. Another player to look out for is going to be Kitioni Sawala, or Salawa, I should say. And that was 9 tackles made, 1 turnover one for that man. Currently, I'm wondering who's going to be the standout in the second half. We've got the benches that I will show you guys now, so you know exactly who is going to be making their way out onto the field for the Fijian Drua. Dolokoto, he is there. I believe he actually played for Fiji in a recent game as well, alongside him, Salvoli and Saulo. It's also a very dangerous player. Rarasia, Mira, Matawalu, and then Muntz and Oratave. Hopefully I pronounced that not too badly there. Then for the Waratahs, Horton, Faulkner. It will be a Tawa Kapolu. Then Sinclair, Tizano, Robertson, Edmund, and Jamie Roberts, who is a very dangerous man when he does get a little bit of space. Carlo Tizano, actually one of the leading tacklers in last year's Super Rugby competition. And he is going to be one to look out for. John Mitchell named Japan's assistant coach for anyone who does care about international rugby and also assistant coaches and whatnot has just been announced. So I thought I'd better let you guys know about that one as well. We have got there, does your brother Johnny Blaisdell pop in? He did. He was here a little bit earlier on, and then he did end up having to take his wife out on a date because he did forget Valentine's Day. So that is why he was in and then out pretty quickly. But I believe he will be here for tomorrow's live streams. And I haven't seen him in ages, says Smithy Toilet. And also, last week people were talking up the Drua's chances. I felt like saying, calm the farm. Still earlier, as I said, Thorfinn. Yeah, and it's just going to take time to be able to develop. Like, I would give them, like, this year, there is a chance that they could make the quarterfinals just because it is the top 8 teams. But I would say give them 1 or 2 years, and that will be when we really get to see them in their prime in Super Rugby West of Sri Lanka coming to Australia, as I say, Shane Hayes. And I mean, it's sad that Sri Lanka are losing the games, but it's also like there's also a part of me that's kind of happy that they are losing. And the only reason for that is because of the fact that I am pretty much like anytime I do a Sri Lankan game of cricket, I get copyright strike by a Sri Lankan YouTube channel. So I love the fact that they will be sitting there suffering through 5 losses in a row. Like, it just makes me kind of happy, which sounds really bad, but they took our channel away for 2 weeks. So, you know, we gotta get a little bit of revenge there. And also FIJIAN DRUA all hype so far, bro. They were talking bigs, but it's still so early though. Says Smithy Toilet. And it's the same with Moana Pacifica as well as another team to look out for in the future, because like they've got a lot of talent. Like, looking at it, their team that they've picked is the best of the Bunnings NBC that aren't signed to Super Rugby. So theoretically, looking at that stat, you'd think, okay, they're going to go very well in Game 5 Sunday as well. Says Shane, and I believe Game 5 we are talking about, it would be the Brumbies versus the Western Force. Oh, sorry, that would actually be the Sri Lanka versus Australia game on day 5. So hopefully Australia can clean sweep them. Cheers. I felt like I drank that whole glass and I just didn't. Bit of a lightweight effort from myself, although it is relatively late. So I feel like drinking a whole heap of water just before bed, probably not the best idea that I could end up having. And also, here we go there. I'm turning into an Australia cricket fan. They are hard to beat, says Shane there. And also, hopefully our ABs don't get bounced from the Rugby World Cup like in 2019. And there, as I said, Smithy Toilet, yeah, I did see. Oh, yeah, we're going to have an interesting one, because it is going to be, one moment, we all go like this, As yeah, it is actually going to be an interesting one. We have got England later on in the year, and also South Africa is another team that are going to be playing England. So England have picked some big matches for them to have to play, but hopefully it does help them improve towards the World Cup. It should be a very exciting one in the France region of the world. And I know that the time zones are going to suck for those games, but I'm still hopeful. I wonder if they actually announced the times that those games are taking place. I feel like it's still to be determined. But I'm going to have a quick look, see whether or not it is like a 6 a.m. game. I'm hoping it's not like anything too crazy, but I know that it will be for the time zone. Rugby World Cup, anyone who was wondering about the Rugby World Cup, it is only 569 days away. Yeah, to be determined still for the times that those games are going to be taking place. So that's good. We get to wait a little bit longer, but currently we are getting closer and closer to the start of the second half, and we're playing both games in South Africa as well. Is that the case for the Rugby Championship? I guess maybe it's probably fair, since they did come over here for the last time, and do the ABs find their mana this year, as well, says Smithy Toilet. It will be a tough one for them to kind of fight back, but I'd like to think that normally the ABs don't stay down for too long, and they should be able to go decently in that. Also, how's the weather looking now for the test tomorrow? One moment, we will go to the weather report. Currently in Christchurch, it is cloudy. The weather, it's supposed to be 50% chance of rain at 3 p.m. 4 p.m. is 90%, 5 p.m. 100%, 100%, 100%, 100% throughout the rest of the day. So it is going to be raining in the evening, but it's whether or not we do get to see that rain a little bit maybe earlier than anticipated, because if that is the case, then I believe it will be quite a wet day, because normally in Christchurch, if it rains, and it keeps raining. And where is this game played? It is at Commbank Stadium, so in New South Wales for this game. And we're way too predictable as well, says Smithy Toilet. So yeah, I guess it's just trying to find a new way of, the new way of doing the same thing, if that makes sense, which I feel like is a really broad statement, but a different way of doing the attacking style that the All Blacks love to do, but just incorporating a new kind of, whether it's the tactical side of it, the set piece, something that throws the opposition off and doesn't make them go, oh, okay, they're going to do this, or something along those lines. It's a bit unfortunate. I got a smudged spider on my tissue box from earlier on. Guys would have seen I was a ruthless man. Did end up taking out a spider on the wall because, yeah, didn't want to get bitten by it, because it was a whitetail, which is one of the worst spiders to have in this region of the country, and also just in general for New Zealand, because we don't really have too many poisonous spiders around. But currently, Waratahs sitting 21 points to 3 up over the FIJIAN DRUA. 2 tries was Will Harris, and then Dave Pareki was the other one. And also, I believe in our boys, though, and hopefully we can win tests before rain comes, says Shane. It would be nice, because that would mean that I will get to do not just all of that test match, but also all of the Super Rugby, because we will be doing Super Rugby no matter what. So it's whether or not the games kind of overlap, which will be up. And broke up with the missus on Valentine's Day, bro, says Smithy Toilet. Jeez, that is a rough one for Valentine's Day. I hope you are doing all right, Smithy. I don't want to go. I was going to say what happened, but then I feel like you probably don't want to talk about it since it was very recently as well. But hopefully you are doing all right, and hopefully you will be able to look into the future with a little bit of happiness and whatnot. I don't know what to say. I haven't broken up with anyone because I'm like, last time I dated someone I was like 12, so I have no idea what to say there. I'm the type of guy that if someone says happy birthday, I say you too. Just not ideal, but halftime is just about over for ourselves. 21 points to 3 here for the Waratahs over the Fijian Drua. I'd like to think that we see one Fijian Drua try in this match, and I would like to think it would be in the early stages of the second half. Underrated Waratah player at the moment. I would actually, to be honest, you'll have to let me know if he's completely underrated, but I know it's pretty obvious that I'm going to say someone who scored a try just for now, but it's not actually because of that try. But Will Harris, his physicality is just insane. Like the way that he plays, I think, like that's the thing, Lockie Swinton's physical. This man just goes for it as well. That's a mistake straight away from the Fijian Drua, a bit of a miscommunication, and the Waratahs have got this ball back inside of the 22. Jake Gordon firing it back. This is a brilliant start to the half here for the Waratahs. Now on the outside, now out to Turner, smashed in the tackle there by the Fijian Drua. Gordon goes back now once again. Angus Bell, the good carry, accompanied by Angus, it was actually Harry Johnson-Holmes. Now Pareki getting driven backwards in the tackle by the Tasman representative, Charika Davida. Actually used to be a fighter, I believe it was, or a boxer at high school, so you can understand he would certainly pack a punch. James Gordon going back now. There's a Jed Holloway. I actually see many Chiefs logos and whatnot on the field, which is kind of cool. And another advantage. Angus Bell running hard. Ball on the inside for Keddy. Driving over. He scores the try for Keddy. He does get on a teenage relationships as well. Murray All-Stars mana was too much for the Indigenous in there. And also same here. The assist for the toilet. And also, do you think Highlanders can beat the Chiefs? I think it's going to be close. But I would say my guess is that it's going to be just snuck by the Chiefs. I think they're going to have a little bit like off preseason. They seem to be really finding their form nicely. So yeah, I am going to say that it will be the Chiefs, but only by like 7, less than 7 probably as well. And also, you should do this with a case of beer. It would be fun as I said through. Certainly would be. Although by about I don't know how much I could drink without like being able to talk this quick and drink. I should say, like I'll start slurring my words and all sorts. Be sitting there. Oh, he's gone. He gone through. Like, it would be fun. I feel like there'll be a lot of clips that I probably, depending on how many beverages down I get, like a case is a lot. So if I got through like about 10 or something along those lines, I will well and truly not remember anything that happened on the live stream. Could be an idea for the future match. So now Ben Donaldson from the touchline, 42 minutes in, and it's the third try now for the Waratahs. So at this current point in time, they have got themselves the bonus point. Using that one to come around, Ben Donaldson doesn't quite get enough distance or accuracy on it. And Chiefs by 50, says Smithy Toilet, and also Highlanders win by 3 points, says Shane Hayes there. See, that's the thing. I can easily see the Highlanders taking it as well. Like, it's just going to be whoever finds that better form. It's in Queenstown, so I guess a little bit more of a home field advantage there for the Highlanders, but not as much as a home field as it would have been if it was at Forsyth Bar. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like in Queenstown. Hopefully it's not too blustery, because it is going to be hopefully a nice sunny day and we do get some fast, free-flowing rugby. But currently now Jake Gordon on the 22, firing it back now to Donaldson. Doesn't quite strike that one how he would have liked, although it didn't actually go terribly in terms of the distance that he did get on that one. And now 43 minutes in the bonus point, like I mentioned, still in favour of the Waratahs. It is 3 tries or more than your opponent that does end up giving you that bonus point. But anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are going to be back with plenty more action in the future for Super Rugby Pacific. Every single game we are going to be covering on the Kiwi Lads channel. Highlanders may be growing or going, win or lose as well. And there's Jasper Tatoy there. Currently now going back once again. It's a big old tackle on Ravuvu. One of his first tackles that we've actually seen at the match. Now it is once again going to be Nasila Silla. Looks like it is going to be the penalty advantage there for the Fijian Drua. Going to the short side, rush defence. And it is not going to quite work out for them. Little chip and chase here. Could it be the number 9? No, he doesn't quite get it. He tries to put the ball down. What is the referee saying? Nick Berry saying we're all right. It was almost a try for Kuravoli. Didn't quite get over. Baden Kerr has been taken down, and I believe he's going to be in the way a little bit. Is it down over the line for the Fijian draw? I think there's going to be about 4 things to look at here. And Islanders will never lose by 50 against Chiefs. Never haven't. I love your commentary, says Glenn. Thank you very much, mate. Push and shove here between the two sides. It's still getting heated out there on the field. Both sides want to be able to take home the win. Right. Was it a knock-on here? I believe there was a knock-on originally by Kuravuli. Is it going to be the case for Kuravuli here? Did he end up getting it down? I think they're actually going to be checking maybe side entry as well as another one that they're going to be looking at. As I'm just pulling a leg, mate. And there says Tyler Smithy. Going back. Okay, 9 white. They're saying he might have knocked it on beforehand. I believe we're going to need a different angle, but it looked like a knock-on from plain sight. And also Islanders will miss playing it in without their fans. Like all teams that say, yeah, it's going to be a weird feeling for them playing in like pure silence, similar to preseason, but like it's still not going to be the same. What happened to the Western Force damage? They are still there. They are going to be taking part. Oh, okay. I think that was actually Koroduadua actually flipped up Pariki, and I think this is going to get him in a bit of trouble here. Okay, that is the original knock-on, but then from there, he lifted him above the horizontal. I'm a casual and rugby now, bro, as I haven't watched it in a few months. Yeah, I guess Super Rugby's the perfect time to get back fired up for it. Okay, white 1 at this stage, I believe. How much does he lift him up? Nah, he's in trouble. That's going to be at least a yellow card. That is dangerous from Koroi Duadua. And I'm a huge Highlanders fan. I go to all the games in Dunedin. I love the zoo as well. And also can COVID leave, hopefully, in the near future. This is going to be at least a yellow. Oh, it's just a yellow card. Probably lucky for that one. Definitely because it was after the whistle was blown. But the Western Force, they have got the game up against the Brumbies. But Koroi Duadua, he is going to be going off the field. He's disappointed, but it's probably the right decision in the end. 10 minutes in the bin for Hone Koroi Duadua now. And it does mean that the Waratahs are going to be able to possibly get themselves a little bit further forward. But it's right in front of the referee. He wasn't thinking about it. That one, Dave Pariki, he wouldn't have been too happy about getting picked up and put down for that one. So are they allowed any crowd at the Forsyth Bar games? Shane, do let me know. I know that they won't be allowed full, of course, but are they allowed similar to like maybe 100 people, something like that? People with season passes might be able to go to their games, but it is kicked downfield now from the Waratahs. I've done well to not yawn there and go draw 1 try. And they can't wait for Tamaiti to make his All Blacks debut this year. Yeah, he's going to be pretty awesome. And that number 3 jersey, I believe, will be going. Can you read my one as well? And I've done 2 videos, one coming out at 5 a.m., one at 10 a.m. as well. And some crowd says, Shane, so have you been able to find your way into the stadium for any of those games, or are they still kind of too limited to be able to go? It's going to be kicked downfield, taken nicely now. And it is Ratu looking for the kick back. Kicks it high up to the halfway line. Taken beautifully by Newsom in the air. Ratu chasing his own kick. Has almost turned it into a rolling maul. It's off the kick. So because of that, they aren't allowed to go for the rolling maul and kind of holding it up. So that is why it is going to be the scrum feed. So I don't know whether or not the Fijian Drua boys knew that that was going to be the rule. Okay, Nick Berry just explaining that one. It's different to general play. I've been watching a lot of the UFC recently, bro. UFC, very entertaining. Did you watch Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker? Do let me know. Yeah, I'm very tempted to get Fight Pass again because I did have it for about a year. I watched a lot of fights, but then I stopped watching them. So I feel like it would be pretty awesome to watch them again and kind of get back into it. Chiefs did win the Super Rugby in 2019. And to lose the Chiefs 2019, who will win tomorrow? I think it's going to be a close game, only separated by a little bit. I've done 2 videos as well, and also I would rather go when the stadium is open as well. And yeah, bro, I watched that until us a KO on Lewis. So yeah, scary. Like Derek Lewis is known for his knockout power, and Tai Tuivasa, or Bam Bam, as they like to call him. I can see where he got that nickname from. Probably has possesses huge power. And how many people watching in the stadium says Siri, I should say. How many we got? I'm looking around. There's a little bit of a crowd here in Australia. I think they are allowed bigger crowds than us here in New Zealand. They've probably got a few thousand, if not maybe a few more. That's going to be now the Fijians are going to be getting this ball back. And also, we've got there, what do you reckon for the Waratahs season this year? Says Ed. I mean, from what I've seen in this game, it's always hard to judge in the very first matchup, but they won both their preseason games up against the Reds and the Brumbies. And of course, preseason is a different ballpark, but I was impressed with the way that they played in a couple of those games. So I would say, what would I say? Waratahs, maybe. I think the thing is, I'm kind of optimistic for them. Really, you can only afford to lose maybe like 3 or 4 games. And if they get away with winning, you probably only need about 5 wins in the season to be able to move on to the quarterfinals. I can see the Waratahs doing that. For some reason, I've just got a little bit of hopes for them this year. Okay, it might actually be a few, maybe I want to say 5,000, unless they've just put them all on the far side, which might actually be the case. So I'd say anywhere between 1,000 and 5,000 at the ground for this match, now on the halfway line, or in fact the 22. Baden Kerr passes it off now to the first receiver for this one, and once again it will be Ravuvu. Now Kuravoli goes back. Going to be the replacement number 17. Unfortunately, having to make the sub a lot earlier than they would have been anticipating due to the yellow card. They did need a new man. That's going to be stripped away and almost stolen. No knock on from the Waratahs. It's a shame. Students are back in Dunedin. I can't go to games as well. It's a shame there, yeah, because it's O week. I think you mentioned a little bit earlier on, didn't you? It does make it a little bit tricky. Jed Holloway, they are talking about him, and the number 4 G's been doing very nicely. And MCG looked not so, as says Shane Hayes. Yeah, the MCG. Like, that's the thing. If you had 30,000 in the MCG, it still looks empty just because of the extra, like, just the huge size of the ground. Although I assume that they are allowed a lot less than 30,000 for that one. Probably a few thousand as well. And also we've got there many people, or not so many people are there. Says Shane. But turnovers conceded, it's actually 11 for the Fijian Drua. 6 handling errors compared to the 2 of the Waratahs. Total passes only the 40, but still yet to see a proper offload, I believe, from the Fijian Drua boys. It's something we are very used to seeing in the past. Now going to be passing it in once again. It's a good push there. The Fijian Drua, that's a penalty there. You are not allowed to roll. Wait a minute. Who's been... Oh, yes, it was. Sorry. I got confused. It was going what way, but the Fijian Drua, one of the front row actually ended up hooking it back with his hand, which is what the Waratahs were celebrating. But why don't you say, bro? And there says Jesper Tatoi. Currently now kicking it for touch. Once again, it's a decent clearance. At the moment, 5 minutes left of that Fijian Drua card. That's going to feel like a long time. What's the score margin for this match? And there says Ed. Are we talking from how many points? Are we saying like in the margin of 5 points, 10 points, or the exact score margin? Ed, do let me know, because either way, out of all those 3 options, I will still get it wrong, but I can give you a number just to give you one. See if it is going to be right. Taken nicely by the Waratahs once again now. Passing it back across. Good set play. Donaldson on the outside out to Newsom. Trying to break through. Not able to find that offload though. In through the side, I believe it was, for the number 15, and it's a penalty there. Also losing his footing. Now going back in behind. Once again for Kitty. Goes off to Perez. He tries to break through Baden Kerr. Lockie Swinton doing nicely. Offloads it to Parecki. Currently Fijian Drua. Their defense so far in this match hasn't looked too bad. Exact number. Oh, okay. Exact number. I'm just going to wait till this play finishes, because this could be another try. So we will just have to wait and see after that one. But now going forward once again for the Waratahs. Currently sitting 30 meters out. Going to be a good step there. Once again, he's been playing phenomenally, Jed Holloway. I feel like he's right up there, Nick. It's Jake Gordon. In fact, it was Pearson his way around the side. Kuravili goes back. And now they are going to be going back for the original penalty. And come on, Drua, give us a try, boys. And then also O-Week has started. Parties have stopped as positive. Push and shove there from Angus Bell. Everyone's still pushing in this game. Plenty of passion being brought to this one. And also from a student party in Castle Street. My friend lives on Castle. So I'll see Shane Hayes there. So exact number. Right, we're going to go. Okay. What am I going to say? 38 to 8. 38. 28 points difference. We'll go with that. I'm going to say. They're saying they're trying to bait in Lockie Swinton and Angus Bell, and they did just that, and they were fired up. And or do you has what the scores in the live league at one moment? I will see whether or not those games have started for myself. And if they have, I will be able to tell you. I love this app. It pretty much has every single sport on it. Right, the La Liga at the moment, it is going to be in 10 hours' time that the Liga is going to be starting. But Atletico Madrid actually lost to Levante was the last game that was played. And also back again, let's go Waratahs as well. And also I think the Waratahs can score 2 another tries and Drua will score a try, says Ed. That is literally my logic. I decided that they'll miss a conversion for the Waratahs and then FIJIAN DRUA would get the kick over for bait and curse. So I guess we're on very similar mindsets, Ed. Liking it. Who's going to score the tries? No, that's probably too tricky, isn't it? That's very tricky, in fact. And what did Sri Lanka get, says Shane? In the end, Sri Lanka were able to work their way up to a total of 138 for 9. Or 139 for 8, I should say. Now, Matawalu, he's out on the field. And also, it will be Ratave. He is the man who I'm saying scores the try for Fiji straight away. That is my prediction. That one, Dave Parecki now. And march his way forward. He could easily get himself a second. It has gone down there, though. Going to be passed back. They have got the advantage. Jake Gordon goes back now. Ben Donaldson pass on the outside out to Newsom. Stepping nicely. 5 meters out. Jake Gordon now goes to the flat ball to Parecki. You could hear the contact there with Chirika Davida. It just sounded like a ooh. As he did get smacked. Angus Bell going down. And he scores the try for the Waratahs. The big man does get over the line. The loose head prop. And we are going to be adding that name to the line as well. Angus Bell scores the try, and that is in the 51st minute. This game is well and truly not over yet. But either side, we could still see 2 or 3 more tries and not enough. And there's Shane. Yeah, theoretically, Australia should chase that down with a couple overs left. They'd like to anyway. But it's whether or not they have a slow start. They only got 3 off their first over, but of course, there's no one try, says Ed. That makes me concerned that we might have gone too low, Ed, though, for that try coming that early. But it is a nice try to score. Angus Bell going down, scores a try. Oh, leading with his knee almost. Matawalu, got to be careful with that. You don't want another yellow card. And also, what time is South Africa going to be playing New Zealand in the cricket? So pretty much South African time. What time is it at the moment where you are? Yes, but do let me know. And then from there, I will be able to help you out because I know that South Africa, you guys are currently sitting, you guys are you're 11 hours behind, I think, or maybe 13 hours behind. It's one of the two, so do let me know the time. But that has gone over. And now the score is going to be sitting at 33-3 currently. Currently 4 tries for Tonga. And this one, $500 for every try. And that's one which is huge. And Saturday tomorrow, yes, it is indeed. South Africa needs to get into rugby league. And there says Toilet Spinning. I mean, any time that South Africa has joined in on a sport, they do pretty well for themselves. Whether you look at rugby league, or sorry, not rugby league, rugby union. Also, you look at the 7 side of it as well. I think they play at 11 at night as well and being kicked it. And there says Ed Vogel. He did indeed. Ben Donaldson able to get that one. And he has also kicked that one from inside of his 22, kicking it downfield. Doesn't find the touchline, though. And now it will be Kitioni Ratu once again trying to break through. Angus Bell straight on the ball. The big man can't be shifted, and he's stolen it now for the Waratahs. Bit of a loose ball, but Jed Holloway lines it up. It's going to be dropped now by Ben Donaldson. That was backwards, or forwards, I should say. Well, that one, and isn't Sean Johnson back for the Warriors? I believe he is. For the one, and they rip up old giant steroids as well. It says it was toilet. But yeah, the next time that we do get to see South Africa and New Zealand, it is 11 a.m. New Zealand time. So I believe it would be 11 p.m. for you, Jasper. The game might be over within a few hours, though. And also Warriors are going all the way this season, says Smithy Toilet. It would be pretty awesome to see the Warriors do well. Even top 8. Top 8 I would be well and truly happy with. Second half at the moment between the West Tigers and the Manly Sea Eagles. And the Manly Sea Eagles, they are sitting 12 points to 4 up over them, and they must currently be getting relatively far through that match. It is on Sky Sports Select for anyone in New Zealand who does want to check it out. Currently in the second half, and also we will go here. So currently they haven't actually told us how far through the second half it is. How far down am I when I say and Storm will waste the Warriors tomorrow? Yeah, it's gonna be rough for them, but hopefully we can at least put up a decent fight. Jacquard Dog better not give away as much penalties this season. And then there says Billy Doyle, but now going to be passing it back across. Now for Fiji, getting closer to the line, it will be Vota. One of his first touches of the match. And also, is Fiji going to score a try or not? Says yes, but I think they will. I think they've got the ability, and I really want to see it. Baden Kerr now passing across to Rika Davita, drives straight as an opposite number, Jeff Cridge. And the funny thing is, Jeff Cridge, he actually plays for Hawke's Bay. So we have seen Hawke's Bay versus Tasman quite a few times in the Bunnings NPC. Manly will win. And there as well, says Ed Vogel, currently with an 8-point lead. I would like to think they would be able to hang on. The Raiders winning their game up against the Roosters, 32 points to 18, and at their preseason game. Currently now passing it back once again. Hands of the big number 4 for this one. Sila taken by, it was Ratavi. Does go and keeps on going. Brilliant drive forward for himself. Still making meters. Ball's being dropped though, and it's a knock on. And now Andrew Newsom kicks it downfield, and the Tigers see Shane Hayes who's going to win that one. Going into Dutch. They do take it quickly there. And it's going to be nicely passed across. This is the type of rugby that we know and love from Fiji. They will keep this game going as quickly as possible. Habosi being dragged down now. Currently passing that back across. I see that the Waratahs, they haven't got Noah Quinitawasi for this game. They've actually got a few other players. Jack Maddox is another one who is missing from the game. Now going to the short side, Matawalu. He ends up ducking under at the number 17, although that pass was actually meant for him, I believe. Ratu, once again, now around the side, just trying to make the most of making a couple extra meters. Harry Johnson-Holmes, I don't know whether or not he did release. That was in through the side for the Fijian player, but Nick Berry does let him away with it. Matawalu once again goes to the short side. Ratave tries to get a little bit closer, needs to make sure that he keeps on hanging on to the ball. He's almost Ratave. He's not Joshua Tuasova's brother, is he? No, he's not. There's another guy who's Joshua Tuasova's brother. I can't think of him. Interception from Jake Gordon. And that is going to be the try for the Waratahs out of nothing. He ends up scoring the try. And that is going to be another one for the Waratahs. We have got their Raiders played well as well. And also they had to players drop because of tests as well. Ooh, that's not good. And also kind of want South Africa towards New Zealand finish early. Bad performance by South African. It's going to be one of those ones that the second game, I'm hoping, will mean a lot more in terms of the effort that we do see from South Africa, because that's not to say that they haven't shown effort in this game. It's just more of the case of they haven't really been able to play their game of cricket that they would have liked to. We need to at least defeat England this year. Yeah, I feel like that one's the big talking point going into the World Cup. It's whether or not we can beat England. And I'll be so bitter if we don't beat England. Although, I mean, it's the big one of if it was the case of if we lose to England now, I would prefer to lose to them now than lose them in a playoff game in the World Cup. But it's still 2 losses in a row to England, I know, will hit a lot of Kiwis very hard. So they will be hoping to regain a little bit longer. I know it is. There's BDG there. Yeah, but currently 38 points to 3 with a points differential of 33. Distance 34 metres out. Angle of 18%. And the probability of this kick going over is 85. Ben Donaldson gets it down the middle. And now the score is going to be 40 points to the Waratahs and 3 to FIJIAN DRUA. With South Africa did not play. Will secret test. With New Zealand to win the test, to beat South Africa. And there says Jesper. And also they're a great nation. And there says Toilet. Or says Smithy Toilet, I should say. And DRUA will finish last in Super Rugby if they don't wake up, says BDG. Although, of course, still very early for them. I'd like to think that by about round 5, somewhere around there, once they've played all the teams once, they'll start to get the momentum going for this competition. Going to be nicely passed back once again. Now, that was actually the replacement number 18 for this one, which is Manasa Saulo. Now, going back across, it is going to be Straightling, Miramira. Going back across, Matawalu. Giving it off. It's complete contact. These guys are hitting each other hard. Well, this one was Ravuvo, still making his way forward. Matawalu now going back once again. The flying Fijians moving their way up to the 22-metre line now. Back once again. The back line, Baden Kerr is the first receiver. Now the number 8, someone who we haven't seen too much of so far. Now number 16, Dolakoto offload, but it is an interception. And then taken nicely by, it's a penalty to Fiji though. James Tucker taking that one, but then ends up giving away the penalty, and Fiji going to score a try or not. I believe they will. They're currently 5 metres out, and it looks like they might consider a quick tap here. And they still giving Drua clap as well in there. And very early, but Tars not even as good as they was as well. It's only the first round. Sure, Drua are going to get a grip on the next 3 or 4 games as well. And also I love the close games between South Africa and New Zealand. Like those two in a row were just insane, those two games. Like it was just awesome how close both of them were. And we need to find our mana as well. Says that Smithy Toilet there. Currently now, James Tucker. I've seen that man before. I think he plays for Otago in the Bunnings NPC. We've actually got quite a few NPC players playing in Australia, which is quite cool. See them all in action. Tarika Davida, Jeff Cridge, and also James Turner. Just to name three that I can think of off the top of my head for this game. We'll certainly see a lot more in the games tomorrow night when we do have the New Zealand sides playing off, and that is going to be Hurricanes versus Crusaders, Chiefs versus Islanders. It's going to be intercepted there once again by the Waratahs. And Parisi knocks the ball on. It's an advantage now to the Waratahs. Ball going backwards, still a knock-on advantage. And getting back to his feet there, it is Nagusa, sorry. The Mira has come on the field, and that was for Dero Langi. That is quite late that they have shown that. He's been on the field for quite a while. That's going back. You're taking him past the ball, so now it is going to be going back for the scrum. I know it's round one, but this is pathetic by them as well. When I saw coming to Super Rugby, I hope for better, says it BTG there in the chat. Because I guess it's the same as Moana Pacifica. I think they're going to struggle in their first game. And whichever game that will be, they're not going to be playing the Blues that I know of. I think that game will be taking place a little bit later on. But Harry Johnson-Holmes now off the field. Alongside him, Charlie Gamble also making his way off. And that is going to be Carlo Tizzano. He is a tackling machine, and 54% for the draw as well, says BDG there. And also we've got there. It's too soon to say, but who do you reckon will be the top ladder in round one? Top of the ladder, okay. Tell you what, I think it's Waratahs or Reds. Because the two New Zealand games I expect to be relatively close. So I don't think they're both going to get a bonus point for that one. Whereas a bonus point here for the Waratahs is helping them big time in this matchup. So I would say the Waratahs, it's just whether or not the Reds can beat the Rebels by a huge margin. I'm going to say Waratahs, then Reds. And then after that, probably a New Zealand side of some sort for that one. And Jesper, Bulls are playing up bad currently as well. This is BDG, but Bulls growing to play tomorrow as well. Or going to play tomorrow, says yes with the toy. Yeah, they have got their game up against, one moment, we will get that up. I love the fact that I can just look up any game of Crusaders. It is on there, says BDG, although they've got a tough game up against the Hurricanes, which I feel could be a little bit closer. Like, I feel Crusaders will win it, but I don't know whether or not they win it by 3 or more tries. They probably will, though. Though now that I've said that, of course, because normally I am very good at jinxing. Melbourne City are winning against Newcastle 3-0. That was 0-0 after 41 minutes. Okay, back of the scrum there. It's going to be the free kick now for the Fijian Drua. What do they decide to do? They want another scrum here. Currently only 18 minutes left in this game. Will we get to see a try from the Fijian Drua here? I really just want them to get one at the moment. There have been 5 tries for the Waratahs. I feel like it's not really fair that we don't get to see any for the Fijian Drua at the same time. But anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're going to be back with plenty more Super Rugby Pacific. In fact, we are covering every single game of the Super Rugby Pacific season. So if you're new, be sure to check it out. And also, as Will Jordan playing, says Shane Hayes, he is going to be at number 15 for that game. No Richie Moonga and no Cody Taylor, though, are probably the two notable ones. And also Sever Reese off the bench rather than starting. Going down. Penalty now to the Fijian Drua. Little bit of a yawn there. We normally have a yawn or two throughout our days of rugby commentary, but that is all right. Currently now kicking it for the touchline. Right into the corner now. Currently 7 meters out. A perfect opportunity and our curiosity, but why are the Super Rugby Trophy become smaller in the last 2 years? That's a good question. Because I'm not too sure what the one looks like this year. I probably should know what it looks like. But I'm not actually too sure. I know that Super Rugby Aotearoa was a very kind of flat one, and it was a piece of wood. And this is pretty disconcerting as well. But what will happen in the draw face someone like the Crusaders or the Blues as well? Here's Sebastian. Yeah, it will be pretty tough. Although by then, maybe 10 rounds in, maybe they start to find a little bit more of their mojo. But depending on where that game's going to be, that's going to be now a scrum feed for the Waratahs. It was Lockie Swinton who got straight in there and wasn't allowing any chance of that ball going out. In fact, it wasn't Lockie Swinton. It was Jed Holloway again. And yeah, I agree, Sebastian. And then also we've got the Newcastle United come to rugby. They'll buy all the new players as well. And Kevin Sharks will smack them in there. It's gonna be a couple good games. That's the thing. Even if I don't get to watch those games live for the Curry Cup, I've still been watching them, kind of keeping up to date with those games through the kind of like just watching highlights and whatnot. To be honest, I do enjoy watching them, and they're always on at random times. Curry Cup Bulls first play the lost Cheetahs beat the Bulls as well. So yeah, that Curry Cup game, I believe, I'm just going to have a look, see the exact time that it is taking place. It's actually 8 points to 12 for the West Tigers. So the Western Province and the Griquas are the first game of the Curry Cup, and then it is going to be Pumas versus Free State Cheetahs. That's going to be a penalty now to FIJIAN DRUA. So it's actually gone straight down quite a few times in the front row. Do they take the quick tap? They sure do. Throwing the big number 8 at the line. He gets there. Was it double movement? Was his knees on the ground? They're going to be checking this one out with the 30s there as well. And also Crusaders and the Blues will have big wins, right? Oh, Lockie Swinton once again, bit of push and shove here between the two players. And this is happening very often. The Fijian crowd are just loving it as well with the amount of push and shove that is going on. I tell you what, that was a warning from, I believe there was Isaiah Parisi there. It was Mero who kind of almost grabbed him by the throat, and Parisi literally sat there and said, "You don't want to do that, mate. If you do that, problems are going to happen." As I was the best rugby comp at the moment based on clubs, fans, clean performances, says Ed Vogel. Personally, I still love the Gallagher Premiership just because they were the first ones to bring back crowds, I believe, and it's just an atmosphere every game. I also love watching, I guess I'm going league-wise because, of course, Six Nations going at the moment is pretty awesome. Get to see those sides. If I'm going non-international, I would say, like, yes, we're very early in Super Rugby. I feel like it's got the potential to be able to go up as well, and I think the URC and Premiership Rugby, although top 14 is also very entertaining to watch. Happy with the try, and it is going to be the first try of the match for the FIJIAN DRUA, and it will be now Nagusa and try Fiji. And then just imagine if one of the South African sides can manage to win the thing, it would be historic. Exactly right. Like, definitely, I think the team that everyone straight away, like, I think it's Sebastian. If you got a tenner on the Lions to win it, do let me know. I think that might be the case. I think Sebastian, right at the start of the season, put on $10 for the Lions to win it, and they were paying just, well, not millions, of course, but they were paying a lot of money for that one. So hopefully, does end up having that one go his way. Okay, 65 minutes through. It's currently like Lockie Swinton, they know how much of a temper that man's got, and they are working it to their advantage. They just keep on firing him up to see whether or not they can maybe tempt them into trying to make the tackle or try and make him do something dumb, really. But that's gone over from Baden Kerr. Currently a 30 points difference between them, and also wicket and cricket. As I said, Shane there. One moment. I will go here, and we will go here as well. So Australia 1 down at this point in time. I'll just have a look and see who it was that did lose at Lions. As well, yeah, Lions are close to the top 15. So they have a chance. It's PDG. Yeah, they are the lowest URC team, aren't they? And the bet was just a bit of fun. But the money sure is gone, says Sebastian. I guess it would have been interesting if someone did put like $5 on each of the South African sides to win. You'd probably still make a huge profit. Like, definitely the way that the competition started and be taken nicely by Fiji. Is that try what they needed to now really start to feel that Fijian flair for themselves? Passing it across now once again. Silla. Now, it's being called as a tackle. They are still holding him up. Okay, he was held up. Then it was a tackle. Then he was held up again. Don't know what happened there. Good call. What time you're back on tomorrow, says David the Mild. So we will be back at 10:55 a.m. for South Africa versus New Zealand. And then the next game that we are covering will be Super Rugby. That's great body position there from Tizano, but just ended up, they're saying hands went down, I think, and he can't believe it. Carlo Tizano is straight on it, quick as lightning. But yeah, the first game of Super Rugby that we are covering is at 4:35 as the kickoff, so we'll probably start at about 4:15, somewhere around there, and it will be Crusaders taking on the Hurricanes. But Jamie Roberts now will be there for the Waratahs. I'm interested to see how he goes. He looks like he's a solid individual, the Welshman, and I don't know how you do the early morning rugby live streams. I'm normally asleep, and there says Shane Hayes. I guess it's weird how my sleep schedule, I'm probably very lucky because I know that for some people if they stay up late one night and then you end up going to sleep early the next night, it just completely ruins your sleep pattern. Whereas for me, for some reason, I can go to bed at 5 a.m. one night, 7 a.m. 7 a.m. the next night, and then 5 p.m. and still sleep for the same amount of time. And thanks for the stream, Ash. Stay up with the cricket and rugby, much appreciated, says Kevin. So we will see you later on. Now it's going to be the short ball once again now, trying to find their way over the try line one more time. And the thing is, for Fiji at the moment, if they score twice more in the next 13 minutes, that takes away the bonus point of the Waratahs. That's the number 22 getting involved in the back line. I believe that it was Caleb Muntz down the wing now for Fiji. Does he keep it in play? Not quite. By the way, and also, are we going to see another try? If so, from who? Okay, I am going to say, I think Ratave. If there is a try for the Fijian draw, I think Ratave does score it. So he is just looking dangerous down the wing and kind of in that midfield. And then if it is a try for the Waratahs, I'm going to say it will be Isaiah Perezi. My prediction, the Red Devils of Rugby will win as well. And also today, Tafalaga versus Western Province Rugby today at 7. And that would be 6 a.m. here. And how is Roger Tuivasa-Sheet going to go for the Blues? Do you reckon will make a bigger impact for them? Or is he just going to end up as another overhyped player? I think the fact that he's had to wait so long, I think will work in his favour. Because if he was rushed in there very early, I think he might have ended up, if he had one or two bad games, I think the media and everything would have just got into him too early. So I think for him to have a little bit more time developing as a player, getting back into the swing of rugby union, I think he'll go all right. I don't think he'll be the absolute, huge standout for the Blues at the start, but maybe by the end of the season, using that experience, it's a good run forward there. Once again, it's James Turner. It's because in the picture that I have looked at all throughout the week, he had more hair. And now he's slightly clean cut in terms of shaving. And ARL, there are replays as well. Says Shane, there are replays is that on Sky Sport now, Shane? Because if that is the case, I'm watching every single one of those NRL games at just a relax, bud. And now Tuffa versus Western play at 7 as well in there. Kicked for touch there. Doesn't quite get the distance on it as well that he would have been wanting there from Baden Kerr. But currently, it's been a good performance from a majority of the Fijian draw players. I would say maybe discipline is one thing that I have to watch out for. Just a nice little yawn. Fazar and Bra need help. As well says Music Kiwi, what do you need help with? Music Kiwi, do let me know. And yes, Sky Sport now, I use that. Says Shane Hayes. So that's good. So I'm going to get to watch all of those games for the NRL. I assume Super Rugby will be on there as well. So we've got plenty of rugby, plenty of everything that we will be able to watch. Knock on there from the Waratahs of the line out. With sleep as well, says Music Kiwi. I think the easiest way to fix your sleep pattern is to go to bed consistently at the same time each night. Going to be Caden Burr now, or Baden Kerr, I should say. Jumping on that ball. Is it a turnover for Fijian Drua? Not quite. And also, I think Fijian Drua team should spend more time on the backboard as well. And there now it is going to be going for good run forward. Once again from Holloway. He has been outstanding in this matchup. And Hamish 40 to 10, no match up things. Game really one-sided, and also same as well. You get on Sky Sport as well, says Shane there. And as Drua had a bad draw against the Tars. They can start being a title chaser if they can learn discipline and a few signs. Well, I've signed a few superstars. And there as well. That one's gone very high from Jake Gordon. Not quite taken. It's a knock on there from Natavi. Once again, just getting it a little bit wrong. Jake Gordon now going back on the halfway line currently. Looking to build their way forward. Isaiah Perezi with a good step finds the offload back, but it is going to be bouncing back on the side of the Fijian Drua. Now going to the short side here. Going to be the big number 7. Actually, one of the first carries we have seen from him. And that's Salawala, and it was too high. Or Salawala, I should say. Now passing it back across. It's a juggle. It's going back for the penalty, and but it's unlikely as well. And my mum and dad ain't home, and my sister's friends are here, and their poop music is loud as heck as well, says Music Kiwi. Have you got headphones of your own that are wireless, Music Kiwi? Because if you do, I would recommend maybe putting them in your ears and just kind of having the sound of either the sea or something like that, just something loud that can give you some sort of distraction. Kick downfield from the Waratahs. Finding touch as well, Baden Kerr. Not quite able to get to my DTSV. Or DSTV is 5 minutes behind for some reason. So this is BDG. 5 minutes, that's a long time. So you must currently be sitting at about 66 minutes through this game. So hopefully I'm not giving away too many spoilers for it. And if I am, I do apologize for that as well. Currently, all the competitions around the world are starting up extremely soon. The NRL is getting closer. Manly currently winning over the West Tigers. They must have had their try disallowed because it is still 18 points to 4 now. And I was like, yes, there's BDG. Passing that back across field. Good offload there from the Fijians. Another ball. He's been dropping the ball, though, once again. And it was Ravu. Does get it a little bit wrong. They're going back for the original on. And I swear I'm going to beat my sister up after this bull crap as well. And then I don't really care, mate. It's not going to change the outcome as well, says BDG. It looks like currently some of these Fijian players. That's an absolutely phenomenal offload from Nagasa, the try scorer for the Fijians. Currently, everyone is just giving it the 110%. Like I mentioned, it is the first game of the season, so there are going to be some gas tanks that aren't quite kind of attuned to what they would be, and Waratahs to get more than Africans did in there as well. It says a music cue, but currently sitting 40-10. Who's that man? I recognise him, not that man. I know that that's Jed Holloway, but the man behind him that we're showing, I think I've seen him playing for a different club in the Northern Hemisphere, maybe? But not wrong in man of the match. I've got to give it to the number 4. I've got to give it no one else other than Jed Holloway. In my opinion, he's been outstanding for the Waratahs. I don't know whether or not, because of all these people scoring tries, they will give it to him, but I would personally give him man of the match. Although Western Bromwich can get to the final of the Curry Cup and the URC, I'll go watch both matches at the stadium as well, and I got Sky and Spark, because you can't really go out and watch the games as well, says Shane. Yeah, that is true. Darren Coleman is the Waratahs head coach for anyone who was asking a little bit earlier on. We've got plenty of games coming up, like I mentioned, plenty of competition starting up as well, including the NRL that is starting up in a total of 19 days. The Six Nations coming back in 8 days. AFL in 25 days. And then also the Football World Cup is getting closer and closer alongside Rugby League World Cup. The Sevens coming back in the swing of things in 51 days. Going down in the front row, and we are going to have yet again another scrum reach out as the Fijian Drua fullback. A Fijian, he doesn't seem it as well. Xavier, so I believe that would be, this is a hard name, Celestino Ravutaumara. I believe he is, if I'm not wrong. I could be wrong, though, but I believe he is Fijian. And try the match, says Ed. I would say, one moment, I'm just going to reimagine all the tries in my head. I'm going to go Angus Bell's try, even though Jake Gordon's interception could have been quite good in terms of popularity. And also, that's not a bad display from the Fijians. It wasn't a total disaster. And then also, Amish Road tomorrow morning. Please send me a message on Messenger after New Zealand won first test match, because New Zealand win inside of within hours at that time, 4:30 a.m. in India. So please message me. And there it says, Michelle, and also you're going to live the cricket tomorrow. We are indeed. And Women's Cricket World Cup in March. Yeah, that's coming around the corner. Very close. And also, I go to sleep in my mum and dad's room. That room is further away. And also, I have hope for us at the Curry Cup, because they are giants in the URC. And also, David, it was earlier. And also, we have got their thoughts on the yellow card, says Ed. I mean, it was either yellow or red. It had to be a card, the way that he did end up putting it. Like, he put him on his head. So probably, I mean, it was yellow and a half kind of thing. It could have gone a yellow, it could have gone a red. Oh, and there's still more push and shove going on. These two sides, anytime the whistle blows, it's like a hockey fight's about to break out between the two sides. Taken in the air, I believe it was. Just slipping straight through the hands of the Fijian and Ed. I think it should have just been a red, because he was warned twice as well. And last week I worked 8 days in a row. I did around 60 hours. So that is very impressive and rate both teams' overall performance, says Ed. Okay, Fijian Drua. I feel like their second half was certainly different to their first half. So I would say if you're going to take an average of both halves, you're probably looking at a Fijian Drua performance of maybe around a 5. I'll give them a 5. Waratahs, I will give a 7. There's still things that they will want to work on, such as that scrum has gone down many times and actually has cost them a couple penalties, even if it is their scrum feed. But that's the thing. It's going to be a little bit rusty for both sides for the first couple of weeks, but then they'll start to find their momentum. Also, we've got this Shane New Zealand will as well. I can't see any team beating Australia at the Men's Cricket World Cup in Australia. Yeah, it's going to be tough for everyone. Definitely because they were able to win it in Abu Dhabi in the UAE. So it's going to be a tricky one. That is for sure. But anyone who doesn't know, we have got 3 games of Super Rugby tomorrow. The first of which, Chiefs versus the Highlanders, followed by Hurricanes versus the Crusaders, followed by Reds versus the Rebels. 3 in a row for the matches that we are going to be covering on the channel. Alongside, while we are at it, I should mention that we are going to be doing the cricket between South Africa and New Zealand in the morning at 11 a.m. Another penalty there to the Fijians at scrum time. Just hasn't been going that well for them. I believe it was Horton who was penalised that time. He gives the referee a nod and says, sorry, mate, wasn't supposed to do that. And the tosses won't really matter this time, though, as well. The tosses won't really matter. I think the tosses, I guess, yeah, you're going to end up, at least some teams who bat second will win the game. Or will lose the game. What way round was it for the Cricket World Cup? I think it was whoever batted second chased it down, wasn't it? I believe if I'm not wrong. And yeah, each time the whistle blows, they pull out the fists, as well, says BDG there. We're currently now sitting 76.5 for themselves. And like they're saying, the Waratahs, they didn't win a single game last year. Could this be the one that they start to change their momentum? New Zealand Highlanders, Crusaders, Reds to win. As on there says Shane, for the predictions that now trying to drive their way forward once again now. It's looking good for the Fijian Drua. They've got the advantage as well, only a metre short of the line. If they've broken off the back, it is going to be... Oh, it's held up, but it's going back for the original penalty. And I believe that would have been the number 18, Hugh Sinclair, who was able to get in there and hold that ball up. And neither team are happy with the penalties. And then when are the Blues playing? They were going to be playing tonight, but sadly, due to the disadvantage, almost reaching out there, only a metre short. But yeah, due to the postponement, does mean that their next game is going to be next week. And that will be their first one now. Ball bouncing back once again. That ball almost hitting Nick Berry there. Once again, Avota with another carry. Still just continuing to try and drive his way forward. Losing his footing there. It's not allowed to go for that ball for Carlo Tizzano. But currently the Fijian Drua, they want one more try. Like I mentioned, if they get 2 quick tries here, they would actually end up in the position of taking away the bonus point of the Waratahs, which would be absolutely huge for them. And Blues were meant to play tonight as another advantage now. The Waratahs, their discipline hasn't been ideal either in this matchup. That ball has been dropped, and now it is going to be going back for the original penalty. Do they take the quick tap? I think one of the Fijian players have got a serious knee injury or maybe just a little bit of cramp at the moment. So that is going to be sitting 78 minutes through. Time is off. And who do you think will win next weekend, Stormers or Connacht? Now, the game is being played in South Africa, isn't it? I think I remember you saying. So I would say the Stormers win that one. If it was in Ireland, maybe it would be a lot closer and maybe Connacht sneak it. But I think if they are in South Africa, the Stormers are taking that game. And it will actually be the first time that we get to see a round take place in South Africa for the URC. It's been a long time. How many teams are in the comp and how many play the finals as well. So it is actually a 12-team competition. 8 teams go through to the quarterfinals. No matter which country they are from, whether it is an Australian team, a New Zealand team, Moana Pacifica, FIJIAN DRUA, all of them are all fighting for that same top 8. And whoever ends up winning that game or those games goes through the semi-final, then the final, and then whoever wins it is going to be what's the strongest team in the Six Nations right now, says Ed. I would say France, but Ireland are still right up there for myself. Like, Ireland are looking pretty good. The moment you're going to watch the Munster game at 8:30, says Shane. I probably won't watch it for a live stream, but I'll probably end up watching it on a replay tomorrow. Ed, I think France. And there's also BDG and no crowds at the Crusaders versus Hurricanes, says Power Force. Yeah, it is going to be a shame that we don't have a crowd there for Super Rugby, but as long as, I guess, for a start, the games are taking place, it is a good start. But, of course, we want to see full crowds. And in the near future, let me guess, all the New Zealand teams, Waratahs, Brumbies, and Reds, boom. And then there says, Music here, let me guess, all the New Zealand teams, Waratahs, Brumbies, and Reds. Okay, so you're going no Western Force, no Rebels, no Moana Pacifica, and no Fijian Drua for your top 8. That one is going to be fed in once again now. That's a good push. It's gone up in the front row. It's gone round. It's the goal from Nick Berry. The scrum has been a nuisance for both sides so far, and also Australia men's rugby is now number 6 rank So it says Ed, because they were up to 3, weren't they? Before the end of year autumn internationals, Australia 4th T20 target just inside 140 runs against the Sri Lankans for Michelle. And currently I can tell you what they are sitting at for their score, and also I'd be surprised if a New Zealand team don't make it. This is Music Kiwi. I feel like there's going to be maybe one bogey team that doesn't quite do it. Like they all should make it, but I think there's going to be maybe the New Zealand teams, they beat each other up too much in their games and cost each other all the points. And then because of that, a couple of the Australian sides might be able to pounce themselves up a little bit further. 7 overs down, and Australia's sitting 36 for 2. That's actually very good bowling from Sri Lanka, putting the Australians under pressure there. And once again, we've got another scrum reset. Only 5 seconds left on the clock. I'll be surprised if a New Zealand team don't make it there for Music Kiwi. And also, well, if there is one team that don't make it, it will definitely be the Canes. And then it's called our Fiji and the Cook Islands as a team this year. Says Powerful's exactly right. Moana Pacifica made up of all of the players, pretty much from the Bunnings NPC, the best players that aren't in the crowds, or best players who aren't in this other Super Rugby teams, I should say. The likes of, I'm thinking through at the lineup that they've got. They've got Christian Liliafano who's come back. Sakopi Kepu as well. He was playing for Counties Manukau in the Bunnings NBC. Hawke's Bay have got some very good players. That's a double blow of the whistle. It's going to be another penalty, and it's actually a yellow card there for it was Tian Talkepulu. Does end up getting penalised for that one. Currently 10 minutes. It'll be off the field, although we don't have 10 minutes left in this one. They're going for the scrum once again. And Tian Talkepulu just ended up going to the bin for the next 10 minutes. He'll be disappointed with that one, seeing as the fact he's only just made his way out onto the field. So is this something that we will see in the future? A lot of penalties against the Waratahs at scrum time. Harry Johnson-Holmes has to make his way back out onto the field, finish off this game. And also is TG Pidonara injured? I believe so. He is going to be out for the next 4 weeks, I believe I heard someone say just a little bit earlier on. And if there were allowed crowds, these games would be packed as well. Says Shane, yeah, they'd be pretty awesome seeing those ones in full effect. At the moment, Manly Seals winning their game against the West Tigers, 18 points to 4. And then Melbourne City going to be winning their game up against Newcastle United, 3-0 in the A-League for anyone who is curious about those ones. Good night. Hopefully I can get to sleep by at least 1 a.m. And then there it says Music Heavy. So yeah, hopefully you do have a good night's sleep. And we will get to see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. possibly for a little bit of the cricket between South Africa and New Zealand. Now trying to drive their way forward here once again. The FIJIAN DRUA trying to maybe get themselves another advantage. They've got another penalty advantage now. They're sitting 5 meters out. The ball is getting kicked forward. It's another penalty. And now I believe we're going to get another scrum here. They're just dominating at the moment for the FIJIAN DRUA at scrum time. And see y'all tomorrow for 3 rugby matches as well. And well done. Or well, GG boys. A good start by the Tars. And also we have got there 3 NRL games tomorrow. Says Shane. There actually is as well. Manly just scoring another try for themselves, sitting on 22-4 now. But the Storm versus the Warriors at 6 p.m. Rabbitohs versus Cowboys at 8 p.m. And then Titans versus Broncos at 10 p.m. Is that our line? And also we have got their Cheers Lads, yes. And then Irish Pro today, West Indies versus India. T20 at Kolkata, 7 p.m. Indian time. India lead 3 matches, series 1-0 as well, says Vishal there. But the penalties conceded, the last 4 penalties, or the last 5 penalties in fact, have all been against the Waratahs. Another big yawn, right. Square up and hold that space is the call from Nick Berry. We're up to 83 minutes in this game. It just continues. Keep on rolling. But the New South Wales Waratahs, they will be coming into this game, heading out of round 1 with a win. They're about most of the Hurricanes is injured as well. It's powerful. So yeah, they have got quite a few players out, don't they? Naming a few, it is going to be Walker Leawera is out. Ben Franks, or Owen Franks, in fact, it was. Dave trying to get in there. It's another advantage here. Slowing down the ball. This is going to be a yellow card here to this man. Straight down, taking the quick tap. No, they didn't give him a yellow card in the end. I think it's raining. Is it raining? It's going to be held up, and if it's held up, it is held up, and that will be the end of the game now. And that is going to be the rain falling at Commbank, and it was raining tries in this game, and they were able to get themselves the win there for the Waratahs. And also, bloody hell, I just hope Stevenson doesn't annoy me tomorrow. And there says Aiden and Hamish, bro, injury time, this is gone. As I say, yeah, we are at the end of the game now. The Waratahs able to get themselves their first win in the last little while in Super Rugby. They did not win a single game last year, and now they have just been able to win their first one up against the FIJIAN DRUA. We have got their starting at 10 for the Crusaders. They have actually gone with, it's not Brett Cameron, I don't believe. No, it might actually be Brett Cameron and then Simon Hickey off the bench on debut is going to be the other one. And also all be good games in there. And Friday footy, SZN is back there, says Ed. Apparently, Jake Gordon, he'll be happy with that. A win for the Waratahs, kicking off their Super Rugby with the win, and they get themselves the full 5 points on offer as well there, which is just even better for the Waratahs. Like they're saying, it's been a long preseason. I'm glad to see that the games are taking place, though. This should hopefully take over to full-time in a very short moment. Richie Mo'unga and Super Reese is out for a few weeks. Says Power Force, although I do see Super Reese is on the bench for them, so I guess he is allowed to come back a little bit earlier, but he's number 23 for them in their starting lineup, or in their lineup for this weekend. Richie Mo'unga, though, he is going to be out for a little bit longer. But currently, man of the match for myself, like, I think they've given it to Jake Gordon, although I think that's because he is the captain that they are interviewing him. I'll give it to Jed Holloway, though. He was outstanding throughout this matchup. And I am going to quickly go like this and go like this. Right, what can I learn in terms of player stats? 106 metres carried for Jake Gordon. 1 try, and also 4 defenders being a 2 clean breaks. So he probably does deserve that man of the match if he did end up getting it. Jed Holloway having 21 metres carried. And also, I think the big stat that I'm looking for is tackles. Jake Gordon made 15. And also Jeff Cridge turning over the 12 tackles, 12 tackles, 2 turnovers. So, yeah, no, Jake Gordon actually did have the better of the stats. Looking at them a little bit closer. 68 metres run for James Turner. He was busy out on the left wing side. And then also the highest number of running metres for FIJIAN DRUA was Kitioni Ratu was out on the wing. And also there were 12 tackles made by Jeff Cridge and Lockie Swinton. On this match, 13 made by Salawa. And he had 1 turnover, 1 for himself as well. Vota also getting 2 turnovers with the 8 tackles made. And Hawaki making the 11 tackles as well. Is Bowden Barrett injured or playing for the Blues, or is he injured? He is actually, I believe he is first receiver for them. And or he would have been playing at number 10 for them, if I'm not wrong, if that game hadn't been postponed. Is the Dunedin crowd full or favourite playing for Crusaders? And there says Shane Hayes is the Dunedin crowd favourite playing for Crusaders. I assume who's Dunedin crowd favourite? Is that why Saki Naholo? He is not for this game, unfortunately. He is missing out. Well done, Waratahs. There's Michelle there. Yeah, very nicely done by the Waratahs in the end. Currently, as we do sit, the attack, 5 tries scored by the Waratahs, 1 for FIJIAN DRUA. So the bonus point does go the way of the FIJIAN DRUA for this one. 307, of the bonus point goes the way of the Waratahs. It don't even pleases us, says Xavier Brown. We have still got a few more stats that we will be going through, and Shane Hayes has said yes, and there as well. But 5 tries compared to the 1, 375 metres carried compared to 233 for the FIJIAN DRUA. 20 defenders beaten for FIJIAN DRUA. They actually won that stat out of the 2. 16 defenders beaten, 3 clean breaks for the Waratahs, and none for the FIJIAN DRUA. That's a big stat that they didn't have a single line break in that one, or a clean break, I should say. They did have 1 offload throughout this match that was successful compared to the 5 of the Waratahs, which is something we normally see a lot more of from the FIJIAN DRUA with the offloading game. Tunos conceded 19 for the FIJIAN DRUA as well. Why is Caleb Clark back after leaving to 7s as well, says Power Force. I guess he didn't really get too many opportunities in the 7, so he's decided to come back to Union, see whether or not he can test his luck at the Blues and maybe try and work his way back towards the All Blacks. But it's not going to be easy, because when you give up your spot and go to a different kind of format of the game, you just got to work double as hard to try and get back into that side. 141 tackles made by the Waratahs, and they did miss 20. FIJIAN DRUA, 97 tackles made. They did miss 16 for this matchup as well. The penalties conceded, it's a big number. 17 against the Waratahs. About 6 of those would have been after the 80 minutes almost. And then 12 penalties conceded by the Waratahs there as well. 1 yellow card apiece. On the 2 sides, okay, I'll see you in the morning. The match not end. Quick, fast New Zealand victory in the first test, as us says the show. And yeah, there's going to be an exciting one to see who does get the better of the 2 sides in that matchup between New Zealand and South Africa, or more of the case of how long till New Zealand end up winning that game, because they are in a very prominent position. 50-50 possession almost in this game. A lot of this game being played inside of the Fijian half compared to the Waratahs, who did actually only spend 2.6% of their time inside of the 22 defending. Any chance of George making an appearance tomorrow? Hamish says, Dave the Mod, if it is raining, I might be able to convince him. If he's working, though, will be a bit tricky. But hopefully he is. Well, I guess hopefully he's got the day off if it is raining and he doesn't have anything to do in the kind of workshop or anything like that. But if he is free, I will be sure to get him around For the next one, I enjoy the company and commentary both. Good night and bye-bye. See you tomorrow on New Zealand Victory, says Vishal. So we will see you later on, mate. Also, anyone who doesn't know who scored the tries for this matchup for the Waratahs was first try of the match, Will Harris, who played very nicely as well. Pareki, that is Dave Pareki scoring in the first half. Fakiti scoring early on in the second. Angus Bell then getting himself over the line, and Jake Gordon with an interception try, scoring the fifth. And then just the one try for the Fijian Drua, and it was Nagusa was able to score the try for them in that number 8 jersey. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We will be back with every single game of Super Rugby Pacific, whether that is the New Zealand side of the draw, the Australian side of the draw. We are covering it all. So thank you all very much for tuning in. Hope you do enjoy the start of your weekend, depending on what country you're in. Maybe it is time for sleep if you are here in New Zealand. But I will see you all tomorrow for plenty more cricket and rugby action. But I will see you all for the next one.